You are about to experience the Drunken Peasants podcast, the greatest podcast in human history. Please recognize that this podcast is designed to be amusing and entertaining, and thus we engage in satirical comments, exaggerations, and even dirty jokes. If you are offended by such things, please go away and die. If you enjoy this podcast, we ask that you help to support its existence by contributing to our Patreon at patreon.com/DP. Contributors get regular access to monthly private shows, special commentaries, Google Hangouts with the peasants, and more. If you don't want to do that, you can also support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/Drunken Peasants to get a free audiobook and access to over 150,000 audiobook titles, including great selections on science and skepticism. And if you shop on Amazon.com, we strongly urge you to use one of the Amazon affiliate links in the description section of our videos. You can help support the show simply by using our link to buy things you were going to buy anyway. Now that we've got all that shit out of the way, sit back and enjoy the show.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Yeah! Welcome to the Peasants Zone, where we explore the unknown. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And today, to help us explore the unfathomable, a man who has exposed the secret and corrupt forces that control the world and the entertainment industry, the Vigilant Christian.
Yes. Welcome to the show, Vigilant Christian.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I haven't had you yet. But, you know, one of these days. You gotta give up the Christian thing first, though.
All right. So, let's talk about, we were going to do our shilling at the beginning of the show, but let's just get into it. Let's talk about yoga first.
Okay, for sure.
Yoga is satanic?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, you have to understand that I'm coming from my perspective and my worldview. So when I apply the word satanic, it's completely logical, because satanic actually means that which is against God. And I'm a born-again Christian who believes that there's only one way to God and that all other roads lead to the destruction. So being that I believe that the all paths lead to, or the only path is Jesus Christ, yoga, because the actual practice of yoga, and I'm not talking about what you're practicing typically here in the West at your gyms and stuff, like breathing and stretching. I'm talking about an actual yogic practice. Yoga is, the word means to yoke, to become one. I actually have it tattooed here, and I have the lotus symbol on the back of my neck, the Om symbol on the back of my arm and everything. So I was heavy into this stuff, and ultimately what it got me into was Hinduism and all this kind of Eastern mysticism. And later on, I came to realize when I came to Christ that for me, as a Christian who believes that there is one way, it's completely logical to say that that is satanic. Because if you go for the goal of yoga, which is Brahma consciousness is the practice of doing a meditation so that you achieve a certain state of enlightenment, supposedly. This state of enlightenment is to believe that you are at one with everything and that you are God, the God consciousness. So to me, as a Christian, that's a satanic deception. When an individual falls into a trap of believing themselves to be God or have some type of altered consciousness that they're at one with everything and it kind of falls into pantheism, that's false religion. So I know to your audience that might seem like, oh, it's crazy, but to a born-again Christian, it's a completely logical term to apply to that.
No, I mean, I just think they're both equally crazy. I think meditation probably does produce a certain
in a way
mental state, but I don't think it's a state of being one with everything. I think it's just
it's like self-hypnosis.
Right. I think it's just a state of like inner calm and basically transcending your own ego and stuff like that. I don't think there's any supernatural element to it.
But again, I mean, that's your worldview. I'm here to discuss my worldview. We're not obviously in agreement with stuff, but from my perspective, it's satanic, because the only way to get to eternal life in my worldview is through Christ. So anything that comes in the way.
What's convinced you in the veracity of Christianity?
I don't understand the question. What do you like?
Like
how
why,
did I come to?
Yeah, why are you a Christian?
Why am I a Christian?
What convinces you that Christianity is true? It's the one path. All other paths are to Satan, basically.
Okay. Well, I grew up Catholic, and when I grew up Catholic, we weren't really practicing, and I didn't study the Bible or anything like that. So, and if you study my work, I've talked a lot about the fact that I believe the Catholic Church is a false church. If you look at Jesus and you look at who he was crucified by, it was the Pharisees. It was the quote unquote religious people of his day that crucified him. They wore these big robes and they walked around with the Torah, and, they convinced the people that they represented God. In the same way, the Catholic Church operates the same thing. It deceives people into thinking they truly do follow Jesus. You look at the words of Jesus, he says, call no one on earth father, and you want us to call the priest father? Makes no sense. So I see this same system of false religion. And what the false religion does, like Catholicism or anything that pretends to be Christian, is turn you away from it. So I had a really bad taste in my mouth from Christianity, from what I thought was Bible or Christianity as a kid, because of my experience growing up in the Catholic Church. And here in my small town in Canada, we had this massive thing where the Catholic Church was exposed for all the pedophilia and all. I even knew a priest, and there was sex magic rituals, satanic rituals going on, and in underneath the church basements and stuff, and all that. So I mean, I immediately just pushed away Jesus and the Bible, and I never.
So wait, hold on. So you said there's satanic sex rituals going on underneath the church.
Ironically enough, something similar did happen in the town that I grew up in too.
Yeah,
there was
a lot of it. Yeah.
There was a priest that stabbed a nun to death in like a hospital chapel with a letter opener. And he got away with it for like 30 years, and then they put him in prison. Eventually, they reopened the case and charged him with it.
Yeah, they usually do get away with it. It's crazy because they have that power, and maybe not so much now, but back when this was going on, like the priest was like the boss of the community.
But
like you had. Yeah.
Just because a Catholic priest believes in Satan secretly doesn't prove to me anymore that Satan's real at all.
Okay, but yeah, I'm not. Again, I'm just going to present my information.
Okay,
I'm not here to convert you guys. So, I mean, of course, yeah.
People want me to try to convert you. Someone's actually written me and said, I used to be into all this conspiracy stuff like Mario 2, and it really fucked up my psyche, and I'd like you to try to help Mario recover and basically, he wants me to somehow convert you to a rational worldview. I mean, I would say you take it too far. I mean, basically, you watch television shows and movies that are popular. You look for anything that you can construe as a symbol of Satan or the Illuminati, and you say, look, see, it's all over the place. Look at it, it's there. I mean,
well, that's what you think I'm doing, but again,
what do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing?
What do I think I'm doing? Okay, well, I believe, again, we have to go back to where I'm coming from here. I believe there is a spiritual war going on, and there is a battle right now going on between good and evil. There are spiritual entities beyond the physical that we're not conscious of, or aware that they're really there, but ultimately, like, they are. So. I see this big galactic war going on. It's basically we're getting close to the prophetic fulfillment of Armageddon. God has saved me. He's commissioned me. He's commanded me to go out. One thing that I've been given, and again, this is my worldview. None of you are going to believe it, but we have spiritual gifts in Christ. So when we are born again, we adopt the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit gives us spiritual gifts. One of the spiritual gifts that I've been given is called spiritual discernment. Now, if you look, there's an interesting story in the Bible where Jesus is going around and he's saying something about those with eyes to see, let them see, and those with ears to hear, let them hear. Now, everyone in the crowd had physiological eyes and ears, but what he was alluding to is a spiritual sight and a spiritual ability to hear the Spirit or see it. And most people don't have this. This comes from being born again by the Spirit, and then you get the gift of discernment. So when I see these things, I'm able to spiritually discern the evil that's in them, so that I can bring it to the world and expose the evil, which we're commanded to do in Ephesians, and then point people to the reality that the Bible prophecies are coming true, that there is this galactic war going on. Some people call them reptilians, aliens. I call them what the Bible calls them, fallen angels.
You're basically claiming to have superpowers.
Well, I mean,
all Christians have supernatural ability through the power of the Holy Spirit. So
I've never seen a demonstration.
I'm going to bring Paul into the conversation if that's okay with everybody.
Yes, it's okay. Bring him on in.
All right. So this is Paul. Let's see here.
The magical Paul.
All right.
Oh yeah, Paul wearing the shades, looking cool. Why are you so
How's it going, everybody?
You're short, Paul.
Well, I'm in a weird spot. I got a new chair for the first time in like 8 years. I had like this old kind of swivel desk chair, and I'm a big guy, and it just gave up one day. It was just like, fuck this, I'm out. I've held your fat ass for 25 years. It's time for you to. It's time for you to pick up. Sorry, I'm talking off mic and shit. Is that better, by the way?
Yeah.
Yes, much better.
All right, sorry guys. Anyway, I feel like I've intruded on your discussion. Please go back to talking to Mario. I was listening along in the chat. I'm up to date. I don't want to take any more time away from the discussion.
Well, we were just talking about Mario. Mario claims he has the power of discernment, but I mean, my problem with that is anybody could claim that. I could claim I have mythical powers of discernment that make anything I say correct as well. I mean, anybody can make that claim.
Yeah.
Right, well, but again, I'm just sharing my perspective here. You don't have to buy into what I'm saying. I came here to tell you what I believe.
I understand. I'm just telling you what I believe about what you believe. But that's fair, right? Yeah. I was wondering, Jesus really doesn't seem to be much of a factor in your videos for the most part.
Yeah, it seems to mostly be about how things in media are satanic.
Right, because most people are only familiar with my main channel. I've actually got 6 of them. So if you go to Vigilant Christian Biblical Studies, I've got an entire channel dedicated to the gospel and studying the scriptures. I've got a health channel where all I do is exercise and stuff like that. I think, I got 1, 2... So 2 out of the 6 are on that. So you're obviously just not familiar with all my work. That's all.
Right, okay.
So you're just focusing on the one channel, and obviously, so you're wrong. Well, that's not all I do.
Is that the most
channel
popular
is dedicated? Well, but yeah, because it talks about celebrities and this and that. You do a Bible study, you're only going to get 1,000, 2,000 views, right? Like you talk about Miley Cyrus and the latest movies and all this stuff, bang. So
right. I mean that's why I find your powers of discernment kind of interesting, because you always seem to notice it about things that are extremely popular, right?
Right, because because in my worldview, like this world is controlled by Satan, who works through his secret societies and the elite societies. So they have all the media. So they're the ones using this to push their agenda. So yes.
Well, how does it? Let me just ask you. How exactly does it work? Let's say, let's say I believe that they are, in fact, pushing this agenda and shit.
It's propaganda through television. It's what Hitler used to do. It's mind control for the masses.
Propaganda, mind control.
The government doesn't love you. The government doesn't care about you. They want to herd you and mind control you into what their ideologies are.
Sure. And
which government? All of them?
Well, okay. So right now we have the illusion of like Russia and China, but there's actually a shadow government working from behind the scenes. So we have the secret societies who have infiltrated the different governments. So that's why in the United States you had the choice of choosing President Bush and Kerry, who, yeah, Democrat, Republican, but at the end of the day, they're both bone and skulls member at Yale. So that's how they work. They get their little men in positions. If you watch the Skull movies, they show you that they have the positions of power and they pass it on from generation to generation. This stuff goes back to the ancient mystery schools. So.
Right, but I mean, these are just rich elitist kids going to a rich elitist school. They pretty much know they're all going to be guaranteed positions of power somewhere. I mean, so that's really just a prep society for them to make future business connections and things of that nature.
Well, see, that's what the outside, that's what it's made to look like. It's nothing but a harmless fraternity. Oh, it's okay that their initiation involves them reenacting and simulating a murder with dressing up as a pope and a woman stabbing over someone, screaming Satan. I mean, that's okay that the world's elite are doing that. And it's okay that they go to Bohemian Grove and they practice these huge, these rituals in front of a 40-foot owl called the cremation of care, because they're literally cremating their care because they are involved in these evil plans to... Again, they don't care about us. They don't care about us, and they view us as useless eaters. They have a depopulation agenda, and they want to bring out what they believe to be the age of Aquarius, the golden age. Now, again, whether or not you believe in God or not, that doesn't matter. These people literally believe in Lucifer. Like if you read the Freemason texts, they even go on as far as saying that Lucifer is God and to keep that knowledge to the higher levels. So your average Freemason doesn't have a clue. This is only at the top.
I mean, how do you know?
Study. So you can read Albert
where have you
Pike.
Studied? Albert
Okay,
Pike.
so Albert Pike, he's a lead Freemason. He was
So
quoted.
let me just ask you. Let me ask you a different question. How much does the Illuminati control?
Well, that I don't know. I mean, I'm not there, and I don't know. So ultimately,
speculate.
I know if they control. Well, if you just look at, for example, the media, in the last 25 to 30 years, media consolidation has fallen into the hands of 6 companies, and it used to be in like 30, 40. So they are like buying out the power, and I know they control the media. The Federal Reserve, by the way, money is just printed out as a joke. Research what money actually is. Federal Reserve, or the Federal Reserve, is no more federal than Federal Express. What they're doing is putting countries in debt, creating a perpetual debt system, because money, when they create it, has a certain amount of interest right on top, bang out.
The Federal Reserve is not a government. It actually is a private bank.
Exactly, and that's them. It's the Rockefellers. Rockefeller, right? None of this is secret. You can go and get this information yourself. But what they're trying to do now that the information is out on the internet, that me and people are they're trying to keep you distracted and trying to make this information look stupid.
But here's the thing. You can have criticisms of the Federal Reserve and you can have criticisms of media consolidation, but none of that... How does any of that link back to, there's a shadow puppet government that controls the world?
They admit it. David Rockefeller. By his memoirs, David Rockefeller, by his memoirs, he literally says this. I'm gonna mess up the quote a little bit, but this is paraphrasing. Me and my family are accused of being part of an international secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States of America. And if this is the charge, I stand guilty and I'm proud of it. So we have an admitted Rockefeller's loaded. I mean, if you go to Rockefeller, I think it's called Plaza in New York, you're going to see a big Prometheus statue outside, by the way. And Prometheus is the mythical god who gave the light of Zeus to man. So it's a metaphor for Satan, because they're Luciferian. They believe that how's it a metaphor for Satan? It's supposed to be man was given the invention of fire. It's supposed to be symbolic of technology. To a Luciferian is what I'm saying. To a Luciferian, they'll use that because they don't see him as Satan. They see them as the ancient god.
Rockefeller owned Standard Oil, so you get energy from oil. It's not Satan. It's like burning fuel.
Okay, but he's admitted in his memoirs that he's part of a cabal working to bring a new world order.
You know what?
Did he say? Did he say Illuminati? I mean, what was he talking about? Who knows what he's
but then you
referencing
gotta
there?
Right, but okay, just keep on studying these things. There's more information out there on this.
Yeah.
So
My problem is this: is that I agree with Mario up to this point, right? That there is I don't think it's secret. That's where we disagree. There is a cabal of people that are controlling
Bankers.
the government. You know, and looking out for their best interests instead of the best interests of the public at large.
That's it.
I'm 100% with that. 100%. And I think that the truth bears that out. So my question to you, Mario, is why does there need to be some shadow government involved? They're doing it right out in the open. They're doing it right out in the sunlight. Anybody can look at a politician and see that he was once the chairman of Goldman Sachs and watch his political career and look at all the donations he gets from Goldman Sachs and then watch him get hired as a fucking analyst or some shit after his political career is over for Goldman Sachs or some derivative entity, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're doing it right there.
Oh, and I know. You're right. Yeah. Okay.
So why do you need all of the extra spooky shit? Why do you need the cremation of care? Why do we need to go ooga booga? You know what I mean? Like,
okay, but
they're
again,
worshiping Baphomet, or they're trying to, you know, they're doing it right in your face. It's like me trying to hide that I'm urinating on you by standing in front of you and pissing in your face.
Okay, but again, this is my worldview and your worldview. So we both agree. We're both on the same, level when it comes to there's something going on. I'm both in agreement. They're out in the open. I just take my worldview, which is I take the Bible because the Bible gives me more instruction. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 8, God prophetically showed his prophet that the kings of the earth and the elite, that they were working against him, that they were bowing down to, I think it's forget the demon. They were bowing down to one of their idols, and they were practicing sun worship. So because I have this ingrained in my perspective too, I also take into account Psalm chapter 2. Psalm chapter 2 clearly says, the kings of the earth, okay? It literally terms it, the kings of the earth. That's a term to describe the ruling elite of the world. So the ruling elite of the world in Psalm 2 are described as setting themselves up against the Lord. It literally says that they conspire plans against him and against his anointed. So Paul, you obviously see it. The only difference is I'm tying all this in because I have a biblical worldview on what's obviously, and you just admit, going on in the world.
All right, but doesn't a time ever come for you where you go, okay, let me ask you a question. Let me fuck that. Let me ask you a question. Do you enjoy simplification of complex ideas?
Sure, yeah.
Do you think that that's an effective way to communicate with people?
For sure.
You probably use it in your videos, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever think I need to look for the simplest explanation for the wrongs that I see being committed in the world, right?
Well, I got to stay true to me. So when I'm explaining what I'm seeing,
that doesn't say anything.
I don't even know what you're trying to get to.
I've got to stay true to me. That's
from my perspective.
That's like verbal diarrhea.
No.
All right.
Okay,
all right. Well, I'm listening. I'm sorry I jumped in. Please continue.
No, you're fine. That's what you're here for.
Okay.
But 80% of people in America identify as some form of Christian. Now, I'm sure that with purity tests, you would disqualify a good deal of them. But if there's that many people identifying as Christian, then isn't it pretty safe to say that the brainwashing going on in the media has been rather ineffectual?
No, because they're not actual Christians. So although they profess to be Christian, it doesn't matter. You can call yourself what you want to call yourself. It doesn't mean. Trust me, America would not be in the state that it's in right now if that much people actually followed God.
What state is that?
No true Scotsman. No true Scotsman. They can take our land, but they can never take our freedom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You were saying I have Tourette's syndrome. I apologize.
But so basically, they're not true Christians because of the state of the country. Well, what is the state of the country?
Well, no. How do you determine whether someone is an actual? Because a Christian is what? It's a Christ follower. So
Sure.
to be a Christ follower, you have to look at what Christ said was the way that someone would follow him. Because he himself even said that some would profess that they followed him, but he wouldn't even know them. He says that when they show up on judgment, he's going to look at them and say, "Depart from me, I never knew you." And these people are going to look at him and say, "But Jesus, I prophesied in your name, I preached in your name, I cast out demons in your name. What do you mean I don't know you?" And he's going to say, "No, I don't know you," because they don't actually follow Christ. For example, Westboro Baptist called himself Christian. That's not Christian. At the end of the day, they're going to get to God, and he's going to say, "No, like, you're a devil.
You know,
Get out of here."
Mario, I've actually heard TJ argue that Westboro Baptists are the closest thing to real Christians. Is that what you've said?
Well, yeah, they follow more of the Bible than most Christians do. I would say they follow more of the Bible than the Vigilant Christian does, for sure.
No, not at all. But again, that's from your perspective, because you don't.
No, it's not from my perspective. It's just based on the Bible itself. I mean, they follow
from how you interpret the Bible. From how you're interpreting the Bible, you're judging according to how you see the Bible, and then you're putting them. So come on, don't be ridiculous.
Well, sure, but you're judging according to your interpretation
exactly,
of the Bible,
and that's all we
is
can do.
everybody
What else can we do? I'm here to discuss my worldview.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So how can you say? So how can you then say that some people are not true Christians because they don't have the proper interpretation?
I'm not here to convince people.
Right.
What are you trying to do, bud?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I have a worldview too. I'm not going to belabor you with it here. Maybe we can talk about it if it comes up later. If my worldview had a blatant red flag, like a gigantic no true Scotsman fallacy right at the core of it, and it was just blinking in my face every fucking day of my life, that would be a cause for concern for me. Does it not concern you?
I don't see it.
That you've got a gigantic, blatant,
what is it? What's the
logical fallacy? No true Scotsman.
What is it? Explain how it applies to me in this context.
Okay, you're saying, basically what you're saying is, well, yeah, these people are saying they're Christians, but they're not really Christians.
And you think that's a fallacy? Jesus said that. Jesus himself said it.
Right, so Jesus himself committed a fallacy, and you're perpetuating the fallacy in your own belief system.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, can we move on? I don't want to talk about that. That's ridiculous.
All right.
Next, please.
So we can watch the video that Mario made.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
let's do
right.
it.
Okay. Quick question: are you guys able to see it?
Yes.
You are.
I can't. Mine's frozen.
I
can hear it.
Okay.
Hey everyone, it's Vigilant Christian Mario, and you're here for a brand new video series. In today's video, I'm introducing you all to Vigilant Christian versus the Amazing Atheist. This is a video series I'm going to dedicate to debunking every single video this atheist God-hater has produced. If you actually take the time to watch his video...
That's a pretty daunting task. I mean,
there's a lot of
There's a lot of videos on my channel. Well, I mean, not all of them concern atheism, I guess, but...
Well, that's what I meant. The ones that talk about God.
You should do the one where TJ breaks all the commandments. That's a good one.
Cool.
Yeah, that is fun.
They are beyond stupid and ridiculous and can be easily debunked. So what I'm going to do is take the time to go through his statements and show you they don't make any sense, and only trolls and people who don't think rationally will fall for this insanity. So if you haven't heard, I'm actually going to be on the Drunken Peasants show live tonight. Me and TJ are going to have a little toe-to-toe, head-to-head. It's time that, well, I face him and put him in his place for the insanity that he's been spewing in his videos. So make sure to tune in. It's September 4th, and that's tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time on the Drunken Peasants show. You can come in and tune in and see me deal with these atheists and present them with the truth. Now, I know many of my subscribers are going to wonder why I'm even doing this. Well, when Amazing Atheists and the Drunken Peasants...
Here you're saying you're gonna like take us on with the truth and shit, but every time we challenge anything you say, like, well, this is just my perspective, you guys. I mean,
Well, what
I'm
are you trying
sensing,
to do here? Like,
I'm sensing a downgrade. Well, you know, here in this video, it's like
all we can do.
I'm coming to the Drunken Peasants. I'm gonna lay the truth
Drunken
smack down
Peasants,
on them.
I'll see you at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh well, you know, it's just my perspective, you guys. But you know, whatever.
Well, it is. I'm not. What do you mean? Do you want me to try and shove it down your throat? Like, no. I'm here to just present it, and I know
Shove
that
what
by
down my throat
presenting
now, or what are we doing? Yeah, all right. Well, maybe after the show, we'll see.
Peasants started to make videos about me, it exposed me to their audience. They didn't realize by doing that many of their subscribers would clue into the truth. And I've actually had great conversations with many of their subscribers who are converting now to the truth and are realizing that they had been deceived by this YouTube channel. So I'm definitely going to take the opportunity to go live and speak to that audience to show them these guys don't have a clue what they're talking about. And I'm going to show you live, because it's one thing to take my videos and slice them up when I'm not there, and it's an entirely other thing to face me face to face and have a conversation. You watch the Drunken Peasants tonight and you'll see probably something you don't expect to see. Many of the Drunken Peasants followers think that they're going to destroy me or something ridiculous like that. Tune in and you're going to see otherwise. But just to give you a taste of how easy it is to destroy the Amazing Atheist and the Drunken Peasants, here is edition number 1 of the Vigilant Christian versus the Amazing Atheist. Today I'm going to be debunking his ridiculous video called Scumbag Jesus,
I did a pretty
which
good
has
job on that
half a
Photoshop,
million
you know?
views. Now the reason that I'm so
Wasn't that a meme? So
Yeah, it was Scumbag Steve.
Scumbag Steve.
And I made a Scumbag Jesus, you know. I think I actually improved the quality of the hat because it was such a low quality hat. But
You know what? That I can see that took a little bit of time.
yeah,
With
I
the-
put
with
effort
the
into
trace,
that.
with the trace tool and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah, I feathered the edge a little bit. Anyway,
Yeah, well,
not
you
what
have to.
Jesus looked like at all either, by the way.
oh, you don't think so? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what people tend to think Jesus looked like.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That's what they want you to think.
I agree. He doesn't look like that.
right, absolutely. He wouldn't have looked like that at all.
No, there'd have been a lot
Jesus
darker.
looked like me, man.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus looked like Paul.
he
Middle
had
Eastern
sunglasses. He had, yeah, absolutely, he was. You know, it's funny because we went to Europe earlier this year and went to all the museums there, and Jesus, you know, obviously in Europe back in the day, Jesus was painted as like a totally European-looking white guy
Yeah. Not
every
even
time. Yeah. All right, so we'll.
Caucasian Jesus.
Yeah.
Excited to be doing this is that every single time that the Amazing Atheist is going to produce a God-hating video, I am going to make sure to debunk it immediately after, so that in the search results, you can find my video directly under his. This stuff is leading people astray and presenting God in a way that isn't just. I mean, this guy hates God, and he twists and manipulates the truth.
Not true. Don't hate God. Don't believe in God.
You know,
You
I
have a
don't-
whole channel dedicated to attacking the concept of God. So whether or not you believe,
No, I don't think that's accurate. No,
Well,
I attack
you do other stuff,
the belief
true,
in
but
God.
Okay. But
I
the
would say-
concept, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the concept is,
The idea.
you know, it has an auxiliary relation to the belief, obviously. But I would say I'm more concerned with the fact that people believe in Christianity and Islam
And why is
and
that?
Judaism and paganism and so many
Why are
other.
you so bothered?
Why be so bothered? Why are you so bothered with the satanic cabal?
You answer first.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm so bothered because their beliefs influence social policies in ways that are contrary to what I feel is moral and ethical and how I view the world, so...
You know that's in America. We don't have that here in Canada and most other countries, right?
You don't have what there in Canada?
The, like, Christian push in the government.
Oh, well, you know, I'm
That's
an
fine.
American.
That's great for you, and you guys are better off than we are for it in a lot of ways.
I'll just throw it out there. I don't agree with Christians getting into politics and all that stuff. I think it's, I don't think that's what Jesus called us to do, personally.
Well, if I can answer your question, because I also have a YouTube channel. It's nowhere near as big as TJ's is, but I did the same thing that you're accusing TJ of. I made a lot of videos about religion and God and the belief in God and Christianity specifically. And my reason for doing it wasn't because I hate God or I was looking to undermine God. I just don't believe he exists. So it's not an issue for me. My issue was that I live, and we all live, you may be excluded because you live in Canada, but TJ and Ben and Scotty, I don't know if he's with us tonight, but we
He's
all
not.
live. Okay, we all live in a country that is obsessed with this idea of believing in things despite evidence to the contrary. And it's caused horrible, regressive things to happen in our government in the past, and continues to allow horrible, regressive things to happen in our government now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Okay.
But again, yeah, Christians and any religion and politics, either way, I don't think they should be mixed up.
So how can you think that if you believe that, that's the truth and you want...
Because Jesus is coming back to establish his government, we don't need to worry about that. Our calling as a Christian is to go out and love the world and feed the poor and...
But I mean, you have to do something in the meantime. I mean, Jesus is supposed to be. He told his followers he was coming back in their own lifetimes, and he's a couple thousand years late at this point.
No, that's a misinterpretation.
No, it's not. It's been 2,000 years of any day now, and every generation of Christians has believed that they're the generation that's going to see Jesus' return.
You're taking the scripture that says that generation shall not pass until you. Is that what you're referring to? The scripture where Jesus tells his
I'm not sure what specific verse I'm referring to, but Jesus did tell his followers that he would return in their lifetimes.
No, do you know? Okay.
Oh, you're talking about when he comes back for like 5 minutes? Yeah.
No, the book of Revelation actually fulfills that, because what he was saying is you will not pass until you see this. And the final book of Revelation is the apostle saying, and he sees it. He literally sees it. God gives him revelation. The last book is him taken up and given divine revelation. And he says, right there in the book of Revelation, and I saw the man coming. He tells you everything he's seen. It was a prophecy that is fulfilled in the scripture itself.
By the way, if you hate the Catholic Church, how can you stand by the official books of the Bible when they were basically chosen by the church, and they chose which religious text to include in the Bible and which ones to excise?
Right. There is the Catholic Bible.
I'm not talking about the Catholic Bible itself. I'm talking about they're the ones, the church ultimately decided which books were going to be included in the official Bible and which ones weren't.
Right.
So there's plenty of apocryphal texts that were considered, and then...
How I do my studies is what I'll do is I consider the canon to be canon, because God did say that he would preserve his word. And the other texts, you have to take that, and like there's the book of Enoch, and there's a couple other ones as well. But if you take them and if they line up with scripture, then it's good. If not, then you got to just kind of get rid of it.
Well, plenty of books in the Bible don't line up with other books in the Bible. I mean...
Actually, it's amazing. It's a perfect synchronicity.
No, it's not.
Cover to back. Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. Absolutely not.
Mario, are there any contradictions in the Bible?
I don't believe so. But again, like we can come on for another show, but I feel like we're going off topic here a little bit.
What's the topic?
We got Disney, we got Family Guy. I don't know. That's where I was going with this show.
Disney and Family Guy? What do they have to do with the price of rice in China, my friend?
Well, let's watch the rest of this scumbag Jesus debunking.
To warp your mind with his deceptions. So I'm going to step in, put him in his place, and the truth will prevail for all those who can think reasonably and logically about the information that's presented. So number one video here that we're going to look at today, Scumbag Jesus. Yeah, that's the kind of garbage this guy is creating. All right, so now let's get right into it. I don't advise you any time to even go check out his YouTube channel or have anything to do with that. I mean, I'll relay to you anything that's important. So my subscribe.
Keep going.
All right.
subscribers, don't fall into the trap of watching his videos and stuff like that. Please stay away. His subscribers are foolish and they always come and watch my videos. That's a great thing. It helps me get my message out, but let us be intelligent and not go watch his videos. I'll break them down for you and show you it's pure foolishness. But yeah, let's get into it. So he makes this video called Scumbag Jesus, and he has something quite, well, interesting to say the least, at the beginning. He talks about how, well, Christians are normally hated, that many people will view us as Jesus freaks. And he even goes on to say that when you bring up Jesus in conversation with people, they're going to get weirded out and think you're kind of a freak. He talks about specifically the fact that people will say, oh no, there's a Jesus freak, and avoid you because of this. Well, thank you so much, TJ, for proving that the Bible is true. Did you not know that Jesus himself warned us that this would be a reality, that we would be hated by the world? So what you just did is...
So what? Every ideological group is hated by somebody. That's just meaningless. Anybody could make that prediction and it would be true.
Okay, but the Bible says that those who will follow God will be hated by non-believers, that non-believers will look at the people who follow God and view them as stupid and ignorant and dumb and will think us to be foolish. So is that not true? Is that not true?
It's true.
Of course it's true.
But there's tons of... Hold on, but there's tons of non-believers that...
No, I want to hear you say this.
There's tons of non-believers... There's tons of non-believers who don't feel that way.
Fine, I had no point. This is my point. Presuppositional apologetics right here. I'm going to make you say that there's truth in here. This book says that those who don't believe followers are stupid, right?
Right, sure. But that is true, but it's easy to guess.
It's in the book. No, it's in the book. It's true. So this is in here that you who are a non-believer and say in your heart there is no God will look at those who profess Christianity as stupid. Right in here.
Sure, but that's easy to predict.
It's not. Anyways, it's called presuppositional apologetics. It's proving that this is actually showing you what's in the world. This says in the world will be the non-believers hating Christians, and not only hating Christians, they're going to think you're stupid, and they're going to think the things of God are stupid. It says that to you that the unbeliever has puffed themselves up, has become foolish, and that they hate Christians. Now, you obviously do not agree about the puffing up, but you can agree that you think we're stupid, just like this book says you do.
Yes,
just to throw
that's fine. I'm not denying that it's true. I'm just saying it's easy to predict that.
Right? Yeah,
yes, of course there's truth in there.
That's good. So that's my point.
At the beginning of J.R.R.
there's
Tolkien's...
a lot of truth. Yeah, there's lots of true stuff in Harry
At the beginning of
Potter
J.R.R.
and
Tolkien's magnum opus, I think, The Hobbit, it says, in a hole there lived a hobbit. And I believe that to be true. And it says it right there in the Bible. In a hole there lived a hobbit. So
there are holes.
Yeah, no. I know it's silly because we're talking about your magic book.
I've seen holes though.
Calling out unbelievers for exactly what they believe.
Okay, but I could put in one of my books that certain people are going to not agree with my opinions and say I'm an idiot, and I would be right too. It's easy to predict that.
And for the record, Mario, you've said. It says in the Bible that believers are going to hate Christians. I'm a non-believer. I'm an atheist, and I have nothing but believers in my life, and I love all of them dearly.
It doesn't.
No, listen.
I have to clarify because it doesn't. I didn't mean everyone who doesn't. Believe
I don't. Just let me finish. I'm almost done. I don't hate you. I think your argument is weak. I think it's based on paranoia. I think you clam up immediately when anybody challenges your worldview because ultimately I think your worldview is as thin as fucking paper.
Yeah, that's a lot of what you think. That's great. You're allowed to think what you want to think, man.
Prove the Bible to be true, because in the book of Matthew chapter 10 verse 22 it clearly says, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake. So yes, TJ, you're right, we are hated. We bring it up in conversation,
and the Bible actually does say all, so
and the
Later, that's a
average person
prophecy
is
for the end
weirded
times.
out because they hate God. The Bible says specifically that the majority of the world is on the broad way to destruction, but there are only a few that are on the proper path, the way to eternal life through Jesus Christ. So when us, who
I love how in the Christian worldview, the majority of humanity is just like refuse to be cast into hell for not guessing the right God.
No. Well, see, like, oh my goodness.
are the few,
No,
talk to
that's
the
not-
many.
Not even close. That's not what. See,
Well,
see, this is the thing,
you
guys.
see
Everyone
here,
listening,
look, the
he doesn't know
majority
what
of
he's
people-
talking about.
Well, how do I
it
not
up.
know what I'm talking about?
You're not
the
a
majority of
theologian.
people
You
are
have no
going
clue.
to.
You have
Neither
no
are
clue. I'm
you.
gonna
You're just some
destroy
guy
you
with
when it
magic
comes to this.
discernment. You claim to have a magical power to discern the truth.
All Christians have supernatural ability. That's our
Oh, okay.
worldview.
Well, so
That's
do,
what
so
we
do
believe.
all atheists. Atheists have the magical ability
You
to
don't even believe
always
in a
be
spirit.
right.
So in your worldview, there's no such thing as supernatural. There's no spiritual realm. So
But
that's ridiculous.
it's not supernatural. It's a scientific fact that atheists are just always right. And that's a belief. And you can't prove it wrong. I mean, that's how ridiculous what you're saying is. Now, here's a fucking picture of a bunch of people going down the wrong path and just one person going to heaven. So that means that basically in Christian theology, the majority of humanity are basically just garbage to be cast into hell. How is that
was
wrong?
not the original plan. See, you keep on defaulting on your wrong interpretation of what the Bible's actually saying. God never created any of this to go this way. If you look at God's original design, it was the garden. It was a paradise. Man, given free will, decided to go with the fallen angels and go against and rebel against God. This brought sin into the world. It's not God that's responsible for that. It's man and the fallen angels. And now we live in the fallen world. So what happens now?
God is a perfect being who should have seen that circumstance
He did.
happening.
So what exactly?
So of course,
since-
so there he is. Therefore, it was
He
his plan,
creates-
and he is culpable.
No. He did not want to create perfect little robots. Like in the garden, he gave us free will so that we wouldn't just be like, oh, yes, we love you. We had the free will to go with them and to do good or do wrong. The only way he can receive love is if we give it out of our own free will. If we were pre-programmed to only do good, that would not be truly loving him. And he was looking for true love, which comes when you truly give that will to someone. But God knew this was going to happen because, yes, he knows the end from the beginning. So what he did is in the beginning, he created a plan for redemption, that he knew that man would rebel, the fallen angels would come here, they put the majority of the world under mind control to the point that they would end up being damned because he's a judge, okay? He's coming, and it's like when he gets here on Armageddon, it's like the sirens just go off, and the police just showed up, and we're gonna have to face his judge. He's a king. He has laws. He's the king of the universe, and he's going to judge us by the laws that he governs the entire universe with. And we're gonna stand in account because we've been deceived. It's just like the fallen angels are that buddy of yours who got you involved in a crime and you didn't even know, but you're still gonna get charged because you still broke the law. At the end of the day, you're not gonna get off because I didn't know. No, that doesn't work like that. And unfortunately, mankind has fallen into sin. Sin is called the transgression of law. So we have went against God's holy law. He's going to come here with his angels and give us justice. And he's going to end evil. And unfortunately, because we have transgressed and we fall in the way of evil, now we have to be judged. But through Christ, he lived the perfect life. He never sinned. He never broke God's law. So when the angels come up and they judge Jesus, he's perfect. So what he does is he gives us his righteousness through faith. So it's that simple. It's an easy gift. That's how easy God made salvation. You just believe Christ's righteousness is imputed on you. Therefore, all your sins are forgiven. And when you stand in judgment, it's as if God is looking at his own son. It's called the imputed righteousness of Christ. And that's what gives us the ability to go into the kingdom of God, this awesome kingdom that's going to be on the earth and it's going to reign forever. But right now, yeah, we live with, you can call them aliens, whatever. Some people go as far as reptilians. Like I said, I stick to the Bible. There's fallen angels. There are supernatural entities. The pyramids didn't just come up like that. The Mayan pyramids, all this stuff in the world, we've been in contact with something that's beyond ourselves. And that the Bible records this interaction and talks about this interaction. So God, he knew this was going to happen, but there's a plan of redemption. Man's responsible for the fall. And you can't blame God for it at the end of the day, because if you actually study what the Bible says and you have a good understanding of biblical doctrine, what you're saying, TJ, doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it does make sense, because
if
you're
you're gonna
basically
do
saying
Bible
you're
videos-
saying that
no,
God,
listen.
you're saying that God understood all of this was going to happen, and he still maintains his current trajectory. That's still his plan. The majority of people damned to hell for committing sins against a God, and most of these people, by the way, identify as Christians. But you say they're not true Christians, so they think they're saved, but they're not actually saved because they don't believe in your particular version of Christ.
Well, not my, no, they would have to believe in Christ, the true doctrine of Christ.
There is
And
no
again,
true doctrine of Christ. It's all up to
in
interpretation,
my
as you
worldview,
admitted earlier.
Christ exists and Christ has his doctrine.
But
okay?
that's just
So,
your worldview, as you've said several times.
That's all I'm here to. What are you doing, bro? Like, what do you like? I'm here to present my worldview. If
No,
I
but it's
present
not
my
a-
worldview,
look,
and then because
it's
you
not a
don't
worldview.
believe, you go,
It's a-
well,
it's a-
I have the supreme view.
No,
So
but it's
because
not a
I think
worldview,
this way,
okay?
This is the truth.
This
So
is not
God
an
doesn't
opinion.
exist
This
because
is not an
I say
opinion.
so.
You are
Like,
stating these things as facts. You're stating these things as though they're facts.
In my
It's not an
worldview,
opinion
I have a
for
strong
interpretation.
conviction, and so are you. So are
Sure,
you.
you have a
You're
strong
hypocrite.
conviction.
You're doing the same thing.
You can
You're
have
doing
as
the
strong
same
a
thing.
conviction as you
Everyone
want.
watching can see you're a hypocrite because you're doing the same thing, buddy. That's exactly what you're doing. You're stating your worldview as if it's fact, but we can't. TJ,
I'm not
you have
stating
your
it as if
worldview.
it's fact. I'm
on your
simply
channel.
questioning your worldview.
Yeah.
No, you're.
My world. No,
And
look,
look at how
it's not
excited.
it's not my
Look at how
worldview.
fucking excited you get, Mario,
It's
at the
not-
at the barest questioning of your fucking
It's
sacred
not my
cow.
worldview that God sends most people to hell. It's my worldview that God doesn't exist at all. What I'm saying is that a consequence of your theology is that God is sending most people to hell.
Yes.
And that is his plan. You cannot say that's not his plan when he has complete
But the
foresight
Bible
into the
does say
situation.
He takes no pleasure in that. He doesn't want
I
anyone
don't give
to
a fuck
perish.
if he takes pleasure in it. Maybe Hitler didn't take
doesn't.
pleasure in gassing the Jews either.
Okay, you know what? It's the best way to see it. It's like you're gonna face a judge. Okay, at the end of the day, and let's say the judge is your father. Okay, and you broke the law. Your dad cannot just, hey, you know what? Courts, this is my son. I'm gonna just let no. A just and righteous judge will do his job, and God is the most righteous
and no
judge.
just and righteous judge, no just and righteous judge would sentence people to an eternity of suffering and damnation.
But that's what you think. You don't understand the severity of sin, and you don't understand God is so holy. Because even to God, when we lie, that is like murder. When we're angry at someone and we sin against them, that God takes like what we view like as not so big, and it's a big deal to him because he's so holy, he's so righteous, he's so good. Next to him, in
He's very
comparison,
sensitive.
Mario,
Well,
can I ask you a question?
yeah.
Have you ever seen a picture of one of those little starving African babies
Yeah.
with the stomach bloated and the just bones you can see right through to their ribs and their
Right.
ankles? They've got flies caked all over their faces.
Yeah.
Does it ever bother you that your perfect holy being allows that shit to go on? That your standard of perfect, unadulterated holiness involves the sadistic act of starving a child to death while flies eat their eyes while they're alive?
But again, if you look
Does
at
it ever fucking bother you?
at the book of Genesis, it's not God's fault. You put the blame on God when the book of Genesis clearly shows that this was never God's intention from the
Is
beginning.
God omniscient?
And yes, but again, he didn't create robots. So it goes back to, well, he's allowing this to happen because he had to create free-willed humanoid beings.
Okay, but even if that was the case, two
That is
people
the
ate
case.
some fruit. Well, I'm granting you that it's the case. I don't believe it's the case, but I'm granting you that it's the case. Two people ate some forbidden fruit. I mean, how does that continue on generation after generation when it was these two people that chose an act of defiance, quote unquote, against God? And by the way, Adam, unwittingly so, he was just handed the fruit.
Right.
He didn't even know what it was. He didn't even make a conscious decision to turn against God.
Right. I'm a little bit different when it comes to interpreting the book of Genesis. I see it a lot. There's a lot more. It's not just, I don't think, of two people eating a fruit. I think there's a lot deeper understanding that comes from that. I think there's a lot more like symbolism. It's deeper in the sense that, how can I explain that? Like the forbidden fruit, the knowledge.
You think it's allegorical, is what you're saying?
Yes and no. I mean, I do believe that there was Adam and Eve, but I think there's a deeper thing that's going on there. For example, like I kind of caught something weird when I was researching the mystery school. So when you study Luciferianism, okay, and Gnosticism, what they believe is that through knowledge, through gnosis, a person can get to know good and evil, and that the state of consciousness of knowing good and evil is to believe yourself to be God, and that once someone achieves that state, they will become God. So in the satanic Luciferian mystery schools, we have the forbidden fruit, that if you take in this gnosis, this knowledge of good and evil, of duality, that you will think yourself to become a god. So I think it's the garden is probably talking more in terms of like a spiritual thing going on. And also, you know, Genesis, I think there was a genetic thing that happened because we're different now. We are subject to death and disease. Previously in the garden, we were perfect. We never died. So genetically something happened. Okay. We've been given, death has come into the world. This was non-existent before. So I think that it's a lot more allegorical than most Christians would think, but I do.
Hey, Mario, you know, Mormons discovered that the Garden of Eden was in, I think, Kansas.
I think Mormonism is a cult.
No. They figured out new stuff that Christians didn't know and added on to it, and they actually figured it out.
Yeah, Joseph Smith there with his stones.
Yeah. Yep.
His golden
False
tablets.
Prophet, but, yeah.
What? Hold on. Wait. You tell me you don't believe in Joseph Smith?
No, false prophet. No.
Come on, Ben. That's just crazy shit.
What?
Let's play some more of this.
There was an Illuminati conspiracy against Joseph Smith, and that's how he got killed.
He hasn't really started debunking my video
Okay.
yet. But
Stan, they get weirded out. And I've talked about this on my channel. It's called Christianophobia. They hate us. They want to persecute us, take our rights away, and they wish we didn't exist because they hate God. And we represent God, and that is why they do this. So thank you, TJ, for proving that the Bible is true. Then he goes on to say some more ridiculous stuff. And by the way, just a heads up, this entire video is going to be analyzing the ridiculous things that TJ says. Love me more than anything in the world or burn. This is what TJ thinks that Jesus actually taught. This is ridiculous. But where's the Bible verse for that, TJ? Where does it say? I must have missed it. I don't remember Jesus saying that at all. But you
that's pretty much his message, I would say. How is it not his message? Maybe he'll say, hold on, we'll see. Do you refute the statement here? That you explain why that's not true in this video?
Don't let it play. I don't remember what I said.
See, here's the problem. These followers and subscribers of his are listening to him instead of doing their own research and discovering these things for themselves. This is what a fool does, is trust man and leans on their own understanding instead of taking the time and the due diligence to study these things out. They just listen to this fool who's on the internet. Love me more than anything in the world or burn. Jesus never actually said that, and this isn't even true to begin with. Now, this deserves a grumpy cat face.
Those exact
come on,
words.
what are you even talking about, man? Just absolute insanity. Now, this might be a different view for some people, but when it comes to what Jesus offered us, I have a different type of position than other Christians typically. I don't view hell as eternal torment. I differ from the traditional Christian doctrine on that, where hell is eternal. Now, I got this not from Seventh-day Adventists or anything like that. There's actual Baptist preachers that have preached that Jesus is offering life or death, and at the judgment, being cast into the lake of fire, you will die. You will turn to ash.
Go ahead, Paul.
I kind of want to talk about what Mario's talking about with regards to, once again, what Jesus said about hell, and then because of you're arguing the whole turn and burn position, turn or burn. It's this love me or you perish in flames. So Jesus said, I'll quote you a couple of things, Mario. Jesus said, Matthew 22:13, bind him hand and foot and cast him into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Matthew 8, verse 12.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Hold on. Just let me finish, and then you can just write them down. While the sons of the kingdom will be thrown into the outer darkness, in that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay. And all of these will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. So there's your eternal punishment quote.
Because you're dead forever. You're done.
Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever. Eternal punishment versus eternal reward. That's the argument that you're trying to dismantle, and these are quotes directly from your Bible.
No, because I just got to clarify. If
you fear God, you live. But I will warn you whom to fear. Fear him who, after he has killed, has the authority to cast into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. That's Luke 12, verse 5.
All right, so Mario said he wanted to clarify something.
Yeah, so please.
Yeah, because what I was touching on was, again, I don't believe, and a lot of Christians do believe in the eternal torment theology and stuff like that, that people will just be there and God's going to have angels just tormenting them forever. So when he was saying that Jesus is commanding people to love him or burn, I'm applying the fact that he is implying that Jesus says, love me or burn forever and ever, and I'll torment you forever, which I don't believe.
Okay,
I believe
a lot
that
of Christians do believe that.
But I believe you will be cast in a lake of fire, but it's not killed forever and ever and tortured, and like, I don't see my loving God doing that. Like, I don't even see myself being in heaven while people are being tormented. Like, it don't make sense. I don't see a big torture prison in the kingdom of God. But again, this is a very popular Christian doctrine as well. But what I was referring to is that when you stated what you stated, you were implying the eternal torment and fire, which I don't believe, if you properly study the scripture, that's what they teach.
Well, I think that is what the majority of Christians believe.
It is. Yeah. No, it is, yeah. But what I've seen is, if you look at the scriptures, he says, I have come to give you life, basically that there's two choices, life or perish. And if you look at the word perish, it means death, done. And one of the things that it talks about is that when we enter into the kingdom of God, that the wicked will be ashes under our feet. How can they be ashes if they weren't consumed in the fire? If they're, like, it doesn't make sense. What, he's going to make you eternal and then shoot you in a fire and burn you forever? Like, I don't know. Again, and that's the normal Christian doctrine, but I don't adhere to that. I think it's you're consumed, you will perish. It says that the flames go up forever and ever, but and the fire cannot be put out. But I believe at the end, the righteous will have the ashes of the perished wicked under our feet. So you're consumed in the fire. It's not going to be crazy torture thing here. That's my position.
Oh, okay. Well, that's still not the mainstream position, which obviously I was.
But I'm
refuting.
here to share my view anyway.
I'm sure I was refuting mainstream Christianity there.
I would even challenge my brothers and sisters who hold that view. So.
Okay. Noted. Interesting to note. Let's play some more.
Ashes and be destroyed completely. You're not going to be tortured forever and ever. Now, again, not all Christians believe this, but this is my position, and I would encourage you to study the Bible yourself to find these things out. I think God is offering a completely fair deal. He is saying you either inherit everlasting life and live on forever, or eternal death. You're going to die. And you know what? Most of the world wouldn't want to go to the eternal kingdom of God anyway, so it's a good deal for them. They get to live in their little sinful garbage lives here on earth, consuming the materialistic temporary pleasures of this world, and then at the end they'll be cast into a lake of fire where they'll be turned to ashes and they will be no more. They will be eternally dead.
Couldn't they just do that their whole life and then at the very end switch over?
Oh yeah, thief on the cross. But but I wouldn't suggest anyone to do that, of course.
That sounds like a good deal, though.
Yeah.
But what if you die suddenly, though, Ben?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Well,
that's
roll the dice.
What if a meteor hits you, you know?
Yeah. But no, to answer the question, the thief on the cross proves that anyone, what do they call that? Deathbed salvation is possible. So you can give your life right there, but the attitude you have is you never know when you can go, so don't be thinking like that.
Well, I'm not too concerned about it, honestly. Anyway, do we want to watch more of this, or do we want to move on to something else?
We could move on to something else. Here's a video. I'm wondering if you agree with this. Mario.
I can't see. I can hear, by the way.
All right. We'll see if maybe you get the gist of it from what you hear.
Because it's important for the church to deal with issues as they come to the forefront in society. I said, son, what is that one morning? He said, that's Pokemon. Son, I found out that Pokemon means pocket monster. Pokemon, plural, are incredible creatures that share the world with humans. Each has his own fighting abilities. Some grow and evolve into even more powerful creatures. The children are developing relationships with all these Pokemon creatures. Little, reclusive, power-filled monsters. But why should they carry these monsters in their pocket? They say the Pokemon whole effort is to train children how to become the #1 Pokemon master in the world. You follow it through the New Age teaching, you find out that masters are those who take control of spirits in the dark realm. And they tell those spirits what to do.
So, Mario, do you think Pokemon is satanic?
Okay, so where he's going with this is, if you look at a lot of things from the Christian worldview, they're based on occultic stuff. So Fire Paul Z, for example, right? That's you're charging up your chi to achieve a different level of consciousness. And as you increase your consciousness, you're going to evolve into another thing. And the goal is to become, you know, a Super Saiyan, whatever it is. So that is actually based on when I was into the New Age, because I used to practice a lot of the New Age stuff. That was one of the things you would practice, right? How I would raise my consciousness is, I mean, I watched Dragon Ball Z and I was like, man, this show is actually helping me to understand, you know, like because I was really into like Kung Fu and Tai Chi, so it was like moving the energy and stuff like that, and Qigong. So Qigongs Qigong, and it's basically how to tap into that energy, life force. Prana is another word in yoga for it. So what we find is in stuff like Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, what's another one? That card game, Magic or stuff, like to a Christian, that is just a way that we are kind of like bringing out the occult to the world. Like we're making the occult popular for the kids.
So you don't think it's just harmless fantasy? You think it's like nefarious brainwashing?
Well, I do believe that there are spiritual entities, so there are demonic forces, and they are trying to subtly try to influence, especially young kids, and they'll use stuff like this. I'm not saying that if you pick up Pokemon, I mean, I played Pokemon when I was a kid and whatever, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get you there, but there's influences and there's things that they're trying to do.
You still fantasize about Jigglypuff, don't you?
Jigglypuff, at some point becomes capable of taking these powers and channeling them through their mind, through their arms, or through their power sources. Their power sources, of course, are many of the symbols that they pick up from the Pokemon paraphernalia. So Pokemon is a game that teaches children how to enter into the world of witchcraft, how to cast spells, how to use psychic phenomena, how to put to work supernatural powers against their enemies, how to fantasy role play. Pokemon world is a world of the demonic.
You know, if I made some kind of game or TV show and hid, Christian symbolism and messages in it, it's not going to make people become Christians.
Okay.
I mean, what I'm saying...
Oh, yeah, man. If every single movie... Oh, my goodness, are you kidding me? If every single movie that every teen watched portrayed Christians as the most intelligent, the cutting edge, and it portrayed, because again, Christianity is portrayed as stupid, all that stuff, Forrest Gump, you got to be a dummy to be a Christian. So you're constantly portraying this. So they're influencing minds. If kids all day long saw nothing but media that influenced them to think that Christianity was cool, you can literally you can convince anyone with media anything, let alone Christianity. It would be an awesome thing to do, but you can, if they decide whatever.
I don't think that people can unwittingly, but I mean, like, that would be if there's like overtly like we're gonna portray Christians as though they're awesome. That's an overt thing. Pokemon is not overtly saying, who's cool? Satan. Satan is really what it's all about.
Because it's subtle. Satan
but I
is
mean,
subtle.
yeah, well,
He's
okay,
not,
it's subtle, but I mean, like, if you're going to turn to Satan, shouldn't that be a conscious decision? Shouldn't that have to be something you decide to do?
No, he doesn't want that. He rathers you don't even believe he exists. The greatest trick he ever played on mankind is convincing you he doesn't exist. Because here's what Satan wants.
I contend that.
Right, in your worldview. But anyways,
in my worldview, the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was beating that guy down in Georgia at a fiddling contest.
He did not win that contest, okay? The devil won. We all know it.
If you listen to that song objectively, the devil won.
He did. I don't know what the scheme is there, but the devil definitely won. Johnny was okay, but honestly, his shit was kind of cliche.
All right, can I finish, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, what the devil is doing is he wants people to think he doesn't exist, and ultimately he doesn't care if you believe in him, as long as you are doing what you want in your life. As long as because what he wants, there's two choices. You're either going to do your thing or God's thing. And even Aleister Crowley, who channeled supposedly Satan and wrote the Book of the Law, he wrote "Do what thou wilt," and I even showed Jay-Z
that shall be the whole of the law. Yeah,
exactly. Do what thou wilt. That is what Satan wants you to do. And guess what? That's what you guys are doing. You're doing your own thing. So Satan sits back and he's like, job done. These guys are doing what they want. They're not obeying God. He doesn't need to convince you.
Why would God create a race of beings in his image and give them free will, but he doesn't want them to do what they want to do?
What's that?
What you said, God gave us free will because he doesn't want a bunch of robots.
Right, but
why would our will even contradict with God's will?
Because, well, okay, I have to explain, because do what thou wilt is not really doing your thing. You're just being deceived into doing your thing. Doing your thing is actually Satan's thing since the beginning. He was the first one to rebel in God. And he was actually one of the covering cherubs. He was over the throne of God. He was, some texts lead to think that he was even in charge of worship in music in heaven, and he rebelled against God. And he was the first one to say, because God had struck his laws and his rules, because these things bring order. So Satan was like, no, that's not it. I want to be above God. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to do my own thing. And he was the first. So to do what you want is in fact his thing. So you only have two choices. And this is why the Bible says you can only serve one of two masters. We as humans were created to be slaves. That's it. We're created to either serve God or serve Satan and the fallen ones. That's how I view it. And that's what the Bible teaches here. So you have two choices. Do God's thing, which is righteous and good, but you have to do it within your own understanding and your own heart to know that it's good, and use your free will and exercise it to do that. Or you do Satan's thing and you get deceived into thinking you're doing your own. But like I said, he's laughing because you're just doing exactly what he wants you to.
So there's no way to actually do what you want to do. You're just a slave either way.
Yeah,
that's your point of view.
Well, you're a slave to Satan or a slave to God, but God is a perfect master. So to be a slave to a perfect master is not even being a slave at the end of the day.
Yes, it is.
Son. No, because he's adopted
that is being
you
a slave.
into his son. Whatever, he's going to give me eternal life and I'm going to get to travel eternity forever. I'm never going to die. I'm going to experience pleasure evermore. And,
none of that's going to happen. But
yeah, well, I don't mind being a slave if that's what he's going to do for me as my master. No problem.
Okay, well, that's your prerogative, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Paul, do you have anything to say about that?
I mean, I'm just glad to know that, God's about eternal pleasure. You know what I mean? That, like, when I die, assuming I go, to heaven, which I hope I do, he's going to be all right with me bringing out the nipple clamps and getting rowdy.
No, he's not. No, he's not, Paul. He's gonna be. That's against his law, you know.
Nipple clamps?
Yeah, all those things, all those carnal desires and things like you guys love it, yeah, sex, drugs, drinking, all that ridiculous nonsense that you actually think is pleasure and stuff. Yeah, it's not going to be in the kingdom of God because it's actually pathetic. It's sad. You think that's cool, getting your little nippies good? Like that gets you off? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Paul?
Dude, what? I like a little what? I like a little what? I like a little warm up. I like a little foreplay. I like a little nipple play. What's wrong with that?
See, it's funny because you guys think being depraved is cool. Yeah.
I'm depraved. I put nipple clamps on one.
Why is that depraved? Why is that depraved?
That's the lower that's the lower levels of humanity.
You know what's
Anyone with an
depraved?
intellect-
You know,
Why is
You're
it the
like an
lower
animal.
levels of
You're nothing
humanity?
but an animal.
I am an animal. We are
No,
animals.
no.
Yes.
We were created
You know
in
what's
God's image to
depraved?
have dominion over animals and to have a
No,
brain.
no.
To use it.
No.
No, we're just.
But hold on.
mindless.
But part of our brain. Wait, hold on. But part of our brain is dedicated to sex. We have a sex drive.
the devil.
God created our sex drive.
Oh, yeah, sex is awesome within the context of marriage and how it's supposed to actually run.
How do you know that's how it's supposed to actually run?
Because, in my worldview, God being the creator of all things, including sex, and then his guidelines give us the proper functioning of that.
But where does it actually say that we're supposed to be monogamous? Because actually a lot of God's followers were polygamists with harems of concubines as well.
Sorry, I don't understand the question, though.
Well, Solomon... Yeah, like King Solomon, for example.
Yeah.
He had a gigantic harem of sex slaves, and he also had something like 300 wives. Mm-hmm. God never said, Solomon, this is wrong. There's nothing in the Bible where God condemns that.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, well, actually, when you look in the New Testament and Jesus is talking about divorce and marriage and stuff like that, he says that in the beginning, it was one man and one woman. But what happened is because of the sin of man, because man fell into, I can't even control myself, and I got to think with my brain down there. I can't use my brain. Because we fell into that trap, God allowed grace and allowed men to have more than one wife because they would have been cheating all left and right. But then when Christ came and he gave the new covenant, now it was clear, it's revealed to us in the New Testament that was God's original plan. But God has had to make way because of the sin in the world. He's had to make exceptions.
Okay, so does God does not still make that way though? That was just like a temporary thing from
because now
after the fall, from around after the fall until Christ came. It was okay to have multiple wives. Okay,
it was not
okay
after
the Christ revolution.
Okay, but God allowed.
But God looked the other way. Okay, God was looking the other way.
God applied mercy and grace. Not look the other way. God applies mercy and grace.
Okay, well, that's looking the other way.
All right, I wanted to get on to the next video here because in the next video, oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
No, I wanted to say something really quick.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm going to try and say it really quick.
Take as much time as you need, Paul.
Mario earlier said that me wanting to put nipple clamps on, it basically made me a beast. Like I'm less, I'm no better than an animal.
I don't know any animals that put nipple clamps on, though.
Yeah, I don't either, but that's beside the point. And I thought that since we're sharing worldviews here, that I would tell Mario what I think is absurd and disgusting and beneath humanity. You ready?
Go ahead. Yes.
I think it's absurd that a guy like Mario is going to profess to be a radical follower of Jesus Christ while sitting in his air-conditioned little cubicle with his Abercrombie and Fitch shirt on and his nice $300 condenser mic and his collection of books in the background while there are people starving in the city he lives, not giving 100% of himself, but yet professing to be a man of God, professing to be a follower of this Christ figure who above all cherished poverty and service, a life of service. And instead, what you're doing, you're a huckster. You're selling your warped little worldview to people with small minds.
Right.
And they're lapping it up left and right. So that's where our worldviews diverge, I think. And maybe you can agree or disagree on that.
Disagree, obviously.
You disagree?
Obviously, yeah.
What do you disagree with?
Like, you don't know what I do with my money. You don't know, and I'm not going to come here and go, this is what I do, and
Sure.
It's not about that. Okay, so first of all, this guy has no clue what I'm actually doing, so he's just shooting off the top of my head. I could actually be doing a lot with this money, and he don't have a clue. So ultimately, is a Christian supposed to be poor? That's not actually what Jesus actually taught. If you look at the scriptures, it's the love of money that is the root of all evil, not money itself. If you look at Joseph, he actually had a lot of power and influence. He was the second in command in Egypt. He rode around on a chariot that would be considered like a Rolls Royce today. He had a big gold chain around his neck, and he used his power and influence and the stature that he had in society to influence for godliness and do good within the Egyptian system. So although I'm in the world, I still need to establish myself so that I can have an influence for the kingdom of God. I do take a certain amount, and I do good works, and he has no clue. But then there is the fact that I need to establish myself here on YouTube, get the education, get the platform so that I can be an influence like Joseph to push the kingdom. So this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
A boot.
All right, so we're gonna move.
Yeah, Canada. Canada's the best, man. You guys would actually like it here. Sadly, like, we should probably trade.
I've been to Canada so many times.
So liberal, you guys would love it.
So next thing we have here is someone who made a video that actually agrees with Mario, saying that we're cowards and we were running away from Kent Hovind.
Okay.
And guess who made it?
Brett Keane.
Yep.
Oh no.
An atheist and his pals and his stupid brother would not go on to debate Kent Hovind, did I not? I told you that he would run. The Amazing Atheist made 3 videos attacking, doing personal attacks, and trying to lure Kent Hovind into a debate. Well, what ended up happening was he most likely suspected that Kent wouldn't debate him because Kent was just released and was trying to spend time with his family. But the Amazing Atheist found out to his surprise and to his horror that Kent Hovind was excited about debating the Drunken Peasants. You know, those guys who get drunk and then pretend as though they're intellectuals on a live broadcast.
When have we
Well,
ever
the
pretended to
problem
be
was-
intellectuals? I don't remember us ever pretending to be intellectuals on this podcast. This is a pretty fast and loose podcast.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we wanted Kent Hovind to come on the show. He agreed to come on the show, and then he backed out of coming on the show. So I don't see how we backed out.
Right.
Yeah, what's
so
your take?
here's my argument on this. Okay.
Okay.
So Ben, or not Ben, sorry, TJ.
Yes.
You consider you're YouTube's biggest atheist, right? 700,000 subs.
I guess. I mean, I think PewDiePie is an atheist, but he doesn't really talk about
doesn't
it.
do
So
the content, right?
right.
So you've been given an opportunity to go and debate. Like, there's no Kent Hovind's top creationist. Why aren't you taking the opportunity? Why don't you meet him? Like, if you really thought that the creationist worldview was stupid and whatever, and a 5-year-old can do it, why not go according to what he says in a debate format and you yourself? Who do you need? Why not? I thought creationism was stupid and
It is
anyone
stupid.
could debate. Then go defend it.
Well,
go,
I would
or
not
go
say,
fight it.
but no,
Go
I would
fight
say
it. You
just.
see,
But hold
this is
on,
the problem.
there's a misnomer. There's a misconception going on here.
No,
just
no,
because
no.
it's no,
You're
just
backing
just
out.
no, I'm not backing out.
Yeah,
just
you are,
because
bud.
just because it's stupid doesn't mean that a 5-year-old can rebut it.
Man, the
You know,
way
I
you
think
present
what I
your
want-
videos and
but no, what
see
I wanted to
everyone
do-
watching, this guy doesn't
what I
even
wanted to
believe
do-
that creationism is stupid. At the end of the day, he
It
can't
is
go and
stupid.
fight it.
But no, I can
But go
fight it all I
fight
want.
Go fight it. Put your
Well,
put your
why
words
doesn't
where your
why
mouth
doesn't
is.
Ken Hovind come fight it? We want him to come fight it on our show. He doesn't want to do
You
it.
got to stay on your little show and hide. Go be a man. Go out there. If
Why?
you really
How are we
believe what
hiding
you
on the show?
Yeah, I mean, you're on the show right now. How are we
We're
hiding?
not hiding.
Hovind
no,
does it differently. He's a professional. He's going to want a certain
We want-
platform and a certain way
sure,
to be
but
done.
we-
You're given a golden ticket. This
we
is the
want-
opportunity of your career to
we
go
have
and prove
a
that
scientist.
creationism is stupid. Do it.
Guys, he's right.
But we have
Hovind
a
is-
scientist.
Hovind is a professional. He's a professional carpetbagging, gold
See,
bricking.
this is just attacking guys like
door-to-door
people listening, watch
salesman.
this. They just make fun of his head. They make fun of his
Huckster
character.
piece of
They
shit.
can't
But
actually
here's what-
attack what
But
he's
hold
saying
on.
because they
Hold
know
on.
they don't
No, we
believe it.
can't
So
attack
everyone
what he's
listening
saying.
who has
All
a
we have to
brain,
do-
watch these guys.
We
they don't
have
a
a
clue
scientist.
what
We have an evolutionary professor
do
from
it yourself,
Duke
TJ.
University.
Why are you going to
Why
get
do I need
little
to do it
backup?
myself?
You're scared?
Why should I not?
You
I
need
don't need backup.
This is like high school.
There's no backup. It's one. It's going to be one-on-one.
Hovind literally says 12
Kent
o'clock at
Hovind-
noon at the park, and you're sitting
Kent
there like,
Hovind
oh, I gotta
versus
find someone. I gotta
JF.
find someone.
What's wrong with that?
Are you kidding me?
It's a guy who purports to have
yourself,
evidence
TJ.
against evolution versus a guy who is an evolutionary professor. That seems like a logical choice for who should
At the
debate
end of the
Ken
day,
Hovind.
yeah, I want you to go get as many people to debate him, but I want you.
No,
your
no,
subscribers
one
want to
person
see
is going
you
to debate
do it.
him. One
Trust me.
person. If he gets debated, it's going to be
Everyone
one-on-one. There's
listening
not going to
that
be
follows the
ganging
Drunken
up on Ken
Peasants,
Hovind.
Do you not want to see TJ man up and go debate this guy? Get on him. He's a chicken. Like,
How
let's
am I a
check him
chicken?
for being real here.
How
he
am
doesn't
I
even
a
want to go
chicken?
and put his money where his mouth is and actually defend what he's got a whole YouTube channel dedicated to this. This is the prime opportunity for you, TJ. You're a chicken. Plain and
How
simple.
am I a chicken? I found someone who's an appropriate fucking
Go
person to debate
okay,
Ken
do
Hovind.
that plus debate him. Plus, you do
Why?
it yourself. You
Why
do it
do
yourself.
why do I
Because
have to
want to
debate
see it,
him?
and a whole bunch of people want to see
Well,
it.
I'm
Because
sure a bunch of
if
people want to
you
see it,
think
but-
creationism is so stupid, go prove it.
But here's the problem, all right?
Go be
Kent
a little
Hovind.
coward and go get someone to defend
Okay,
it for
but
you.
Kent Hovind can make scientific claims that are inaccurate, and I'm not going to be
Go
in a position
prove it.
to.
Go prove it. Go prove
Well,
that
I'm not
they're
gonna be able-
inaccurate. You're all,
I'm not
anyways,
gonna be able
let's
to
move
prove
on
it
because
off
you're
on
a
the
coward and
fly.
you don't even want to face them. That's the truth. Everyone
No,
knows.
the truth
The only
is
truth-
that.
the only people that are going to be deceived are your little followers that are brainwashed and don't
Okay,
see
that's
past the
fine.
ridiculousned.
Can I
Go
get,
debate them.
Can I get
Go
a
debate
sentence
'em.
out? Can I get a
Mario,
sentence out?
Mario,
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, TJ.
All I'm saying is that if he makes specific claims that need to be refuted, and I don't have that evidence at my disposal at hand, I mean, I'm not going to know what
How
sort of
did
crazy stuff he's
creationism
going to
even
come
make
out there.
Any solid claims according to you?
Listen,
I thought it was
listen.
all
Well,
stupid.
because it is all stupid, but I'm
Then
not
go
going to
prove
have the
it.
time to research it.
If
I mean,
it's
yeah,
stupid,
I've
then he
proven
won't
it's
have
stupid
any
many times
claims.
over. He will have claims. Of course, he's going to have claims.
It's not as
What
stupid
are you-
as
yeah.
you think it is. Anyways.
It is as
Listen,
stupid as I
guys.
think it is.
He's
Listen,
not going to
can I-
stop, guys. So everyone who's watching this guy's just going to keep trying desperately to hold on to this ridiculousness. We know he's not doing it. Anyways, let's go on. You're just running.
Ken
Hovind.
Hovind
That's
is the
my
one who
perspective. My
Look.
worldview that I'm allowed to have is you're an absolute
Sure.
chicken who
You're
doesn't
allowed to
want
have that
access-
worldview, but it's not accurate because I want Ken Hovind to go one.
Yeah, yours
Okay,
is.
hold on. Explain to me how it's unfair for me to want Ken Hovind to go one-on-one against an evolutionary biologist.
I'm not saying that's unfair. I'm saying that's cool. I want to see that. I'm going to.
Okay, I want to see that too. That's what
And
I want
wanna
to see.
you too. I want to see you go at him.
But
too.
I
Go
am a
against
I am
anyone.
a scientific layman. It doesn't
Hey,
make as
you
much
have
sense.
all the
I
support
don't
in the
have.
world.
What does it matter how much support I have?
You can. Okay. At the end of the day,
it's a
all I'm
matter of
trying to
it's
say-
a matter of having the appropriate knowledge toolbox
If
to approach the
creationism
situation.
was not a solid enough worldview, you wouldn't even have to do any of this. If the way you're presenting it is true,
Well,
that creationism is the stupidest theory that you'll ever run across, and you're an idiot for believing it, you would not have to do what you're doing right now, bud. That's it.
Yes,
okay?
I
So
would. There's
stop
plenty
playing a
of
little
stupid
game.
ideas.
No,
There's plenty of.
no,
I mean,
no.
if Deepak
It's well
Chopra wanted to
defended.
come
That's
on
what
the
it is.
show,
No, it's well
if
defended.
Deepak Chopra wanted to come on the show, I would also want someone else to debate
Hey, I
him.
can debate Deepak. Yeah, that's easy.
Well, maybe you think you can because you're just going to throw your magic bullshit at his magic bullshit.
Let me.
But I don't have any magic bullshit. I actually want to make an argument that makes sense.
Let me throw this out there, and I'm
But
not
are you getting
speaking.
the guy to go
Hold
against-
on. I'm going to try and explain the decision that the Drunken Peasants made involving Hovind to get somebody else to debate Hovind. Hovind has
I
been
don't have a
sitting.
problem with that, for sure.
Hovind has been sitting for 9 years in a 6x8, doing nothing but thinking up ridiculous arguments about how the world was destroyed 6,000 years ago by a global flood, or 2,000 years ago, whatever the belief is. He's going to make specific biological claims. TJ is not equipped to directly refute those claims. So an evolutionary biologist was going to be brought on board. That's it.
Yeah, no, and I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, I want to see the.
All right.
bios and hope
I
and
guess
go,
we can
but
move on
I
then.
want to also see TJ, just like everyone else would want to
Okay.
see. And you don't even have to do a biology. The way you could probably debate him is on anything you want, TJ. If you want to just talk about why you think God isn't right,
Well,
then debate him on that.
he has to come on the show first.
All right, let me talk to him. Let me see what I can do. Because
Yeah, you go talk to him.
wanna
Tell him
see
to
it.
come on the show.
Yeah, Mario
I was
does
excited.
know Hovind.
I made a video and I'm like, yeah, like I'm pumped, but I get as many people to debate him. I'm even here is because we got to go back and forth, and I
don't want him to be because I don't want to have a million people debate him because I don't want him to use the excuse that he was ganged up on and that's why he lost. I want it to be a one-on-one debate between him and someone who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about.
And I want to see that one too. I want to see whoever you get. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm trying to even get one of my archaeologist friends. I'm looking for people to debate. If you want to debate Hoban, you can contact his ministry, my ministry. We're gonna get you in touch. We'll get it. We'll get the gloves off, put you in the ring.
Mario, it's a French-Canadian scientist. So
yeah, I know. I've actually seen him on your show. He's got quite the accent there. Yeah,
Jean-Francois.
Jean-Francois Gibbon or something.
I'm excited for it, man. I have no problem with you getting anyone else. Get 10 people. Like, he wants to go. He wants to debate a ton of people. That's what he's been locked up for a while, so he's revving.
Well, as you can see right now, we have almost 4,000 people watching right now. So, we get the traffic coming in. So, I don't understand why, we wouldn't have it here on our channel.
I think it's just
where we do regular live shows.
I haven't talked to him, but I can assume that he probably came here, saw a couple shows, and said that.
Well, that's what we were basically told.
At the end of the day, I would have been on this show if I wasn't saved, like with you guys, the way you guys are. So at the end of the day, I don't mind coming here. But someone like him he won't take. He just won't tolerate.
He wouldn't last 5 minutes in a room with somebody who could directly challenge a closely held belief of his.
No, he could, as long as you're not cussing and there's someone holding, like, you don't get to talk over him. He wants a structure. That's all. That's all he wants.
As long as you don't use.
He doesn't feel that he's going to be able to come here.
You mean to tell me he hasn't heard dirty words for like the last decade?
Yeah, seriously, he's a jailbird. He's been in prison for 9 years.
Anyways, it's an opportunity.
He learned to fall asleep. He learned to fall asleep to the sound of people
clanging.
What he wants.
What's the big deal? Why you gotta? I gotta swear. I gotta be a filth person, depraved. Like, you gotta
we don't
be like
find
that?
it. We don't find it filthy.
You can't be a professional. You cannot stop.
Yeah, we can.
This is a show, okay? Everyone listening, this is a
we
facade.
Said that we
They're
agreed.
Actors. They even at the starting, you heard they over exaggerate things. There's drama. You're acting here, okay? So what he's asking for you to do is stop your little games and be a professional for once. So how you come on here and you do your little satire and your ridiculousness.
I'm a pretty foul-mouthed motherfucker on a daily basis. It's not a performance.
All right. So Mario, there's been times where other people have accused you of being Illuminati.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen those?
All the time.
we actually have a fan of the show who wanted to come on and ask you a couple questions about that. He won't be on very long. He doesn't want to be identified.
We're just gonna call him Jim A.
Jim A. Yeah, we're adding Jim A to the call.
What an ass he is too.
Oh God. He's gonna be drunk and abusive.
No, he's not. What are you talking about?
Why would he be drunk and abusive?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Be quiet, Paul.
I can't even hear him.
Is he here?
Jim Ass.
Jim, are you there, buddy? Jim A.
Jim A. Yeah. So yeah, we can hear you. Mario's here. What do you want to ask him?
Yes, I have a bone to pick with the Village and Christian here.
Yeah, what's that?
Mario, I feel, I've watched a lot of your videos and your Illuminati stuff here. I feel you're a part of the Illuminati. You're throwing a diversion. You're throwing a curveball to all of us. You know what I feel? I feel you're the Kaiser Soze of the Illuminati. When you walk around, I'm sure you walk around with a cane and a limp, like Kevin Spacey does in The Usual Suspects. That's you. That's how I feel.
Okay.
We're expressing our beliefs here.
Yeah,
so why do you think he's part of the Illuminati, Jim?
Because I've watched his videos, and he just throws a lot of diversions out there. Just nonsensical talking about how everybody, oh, look at this girl sticking her tongue out, and that's the queen of whatever it is, and she sticks her tongue out, and it
Never
you know.
said any of that, but anyways.
Oh yeah, I just watched your Miley Cyrus video. So,
Okay, so talk specifically. If you're going to bring some points up, let's deal with what you're saying. What am I saying?
Come on, Jim.
Yeah,
Come
I'm
on there.
talking
This
about
is,
you
you're
sticking the
just
tongue out.
manipulating. Okay.
Sticking the tongue
Yeah,
out. Oh,
okay.
manipulating. I just watched it like 2 hours ago.
Okay, so yeah, I'm calling.
All right.
Do you
Yeah,
not
all right,
notice
okay.
Miley Cyrus always doing that? Do you not notice why is Rolling Stones cover? What's with the tongue out? Where's this come from? Right?
Okay,
Read the
where
Bible.
does it
In the
come
book
from?
of Isaiah.
Where
in
does
the book.
Okay.
Where
go
does
ahead.
it come from? I said it in my video. In the book of Isaiah, it talked about pagans who would mock God, and one of the mockeries that they would do is sticking out the tongue. So this is what I'm referring to, that these Luciferian cults know these ancient ways of mocking God and have woven it into their art and their music symbolically. Why else Rolling Stone have a sticking out tongue? And their song is telling you, like, guess my name. It's Lucifer. It's Satan. I was there when Jesus was there. These guys are devil worshippers, and the sign is a stuck out tongue. So yeah, and that means I'm Illuminati. That makes no sense, man.
Okay, why don't you
No
show us
sense.
the monster? Why don't you show us the Monster Energy drink that you're drinking right now? You know, the 666 Monster Energy that you're drinking. Show it to us. I know you got it hiding under there, right under your hand.
This guy's a troll, obviously. Anyways.
I don't
All
think
right,
so.
no, can we get rid of the troll? It's
I know
ridiculous.
you're having lunch with Jay-Z and LeBron James and credit card debt. I know you're having lunch with all those guys. So, you know.
All right. Thanks for the question.
You know, you're not the vigilant Christian. You're the vigilant fraud. That's what you are.
Have a good day, man.
Son of a bitch.
All right.
Oh, it's so funny to troll. Yeah, it's true. We get people to come on and troll. That's funny. Like,
It is
Do
funny.
you see the retardation on this show? Do I have listeners? Do I have listeners that see through this? Because a lot of you are probably
it's not as
children
I'm sorry,
playing
we're not.
little video
We don't.
games,
You know, I know
your
you do the
brain's dead from
highbrow
television.
content of like pointing out when triangles are in TV shows, but
No, occult symbolism that's deep.
okay,
it's
occult
esoteric,
symbolism.
it's-
Yeah, someone stuck out their tongue. It's a sign of the devil. Be scared.
No, there's way more to it than that.
Yeah, there's no more to it than that. It's someone stuck out their tongue. People stick out their tongues. It's not a big deal.
That's what you think. Why is it on the Rolling Stone cover? Why? Why did they choose it as a symbol?
Why not?
Why? Yeah,
Because
exactly. Why not?
Why? Well, why wouldn't they? I mean, what does it matter? Why do you think every single thing they choose on the cover has some kind of meaning?
Are you kidding? Yes, artists.
It doesn't have a. It doesn't have a. It doesn't necessarily have a
about
meaning.
art.
Why
You
doesn't
have
it
no
just?
clue about art?
I do have a clue about art.
Every good artist knows that they are going to use. They're not just going.
Yeah,
"All
but
right,
an artist
boys,
is going to use their own symbolism. They're not going to necessarily.
No.
Yeah, they're gonna. I've created art. People have created art.
Just
Plenty of
say
people have created
that
art.
The most successful artists in the entertainment industry
you
are
use
not good
symbolism.
artists and use their symbols to actually convey messages according to their music is stupid. Plain dumb. Plain dumb. And
I'm
you're an idiot
saying that
for
when she
saying
sticks out her tongue, it doesn't mean anything other than, hey, wouldn't you like this tongue on your cock? That's about all she's really saying there.
To which the answer is yes, please.
Well, obviously, yes, but... You guys are dumb. You guys have jokes on your show. That's stupid. You should be more like me and point out when the Illuminati is trying to take over the world.
It's about the lower level stuff. Like seriously, that's what it's about. It's just, anyways.
Hey guys,
the lower
here,
level
Vigilant,
stuff.
Vigilant Christian, and
Your
I just
videos
wanted
cater to the
everybody
lowest
to
level
know-
of intelligence.
I just wanted everybody to know
you're a
that
conspiracy
I,
theorist who claims that you prove things when you've never proven shit.
A lot of people would argue that, so that's your.
Yeah,
will.
a lot
That's
of morons who have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
What you think? I think your subscribers fall into that category, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, you can think whatever the hell you want, but you're wrong.
You too, and you're wrong too.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. Anyway, let's move on. What else we got?
Let's see. Here's a video someone sent me saying Vegan Gains lied about being vegan.
Vegan Gains. I'm gonna make a video about him. Actually.
Okay, well this will be good practice for you.
So Apparently, this is a video that claims he lied about being vegan.
Well, let's take a
I
look.
don't think that's true.
How old are you and how long have you been vegan?
I like
I'm 23 years old. I've been vegan for almost 4 years now, and it's going to be 4 years in April. Yeah.
But you were saying that Harley and Freely got you onto the high carb low fat thing. So
Yeah.
how long were you just vegan for?
I was vegan for maybe 2.5, 3
Oh,
years,
okay.
and then they got me into the high carb low
Okay,
fat.
so
Yeah.
like a year or so you've been doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I
don't know.
Nah, let's move on.
Yeah.
It's like whatever.
That's silly. Who cares?
Okay. Let's do. Yeah, you're right.
That guy's a psycho, though.
I
Yeah,
talked to him,
that's
though.
why I'm going to make a video about him.
We'll probably have him on eventually.
Yeah.
Why not?
Gonna try to have him and Repsion on at once, though. If Repsion will do
That
it.
would be awesome.
All right. So you know what? I found a guy on the internet, actually, Mario, that speaks the truth. And I have now become a follower of his theories. Yours are pretty sound, but these are even, I would say they're even more accurate.
They're even sounder.
Yes.
Let's take a look.
Hello everyone in the multiverse and beyond. This is your friend forever, Evan LaFavor, with a brand new video. Today, we are going to be discussing the truth about the Antichrist. Okay? And just who the Antichrist really is and where that entire concept came from. Okay? But first of all, I have to tell you, my name is Evan LaFavor, and I am the biological father of Jesus Christ. Okay? And before I was born...
Hold on. Why are you laughing, Mario?
Did he just claim to be the father of Jesus?
Oh, yeah, he is.
He is.
He is the father of
Okay.
Jesus.
Evan
Now, that's
LaFavor.
absurd.
Evan LaFavor, Mario. Know the name. Remember it.
a human being on this planet, I existed in the kingdom of heaven, which exists, science fact, in giant starships in outer space. Okay? So,
That seems more reasonable to me than
heaven is real.
Because they say, the Bible says it's in the clouds. That doesn't make any sense. Clouds are just water vapor. There's a spaceship.
No, it's not in the. Yeah, no. the
That's more
clouds is a
believable. No,
Yeah,
no,
like,
I'm
I
pretty sure
personally
it's
think
meant to be
UFOs are in the
literally.
Bible. I think
Okay.
UFOs are in the Bible. If you look at the book of Ezekiel, it talks about fiery chariots that the angels were on. And the only way that the writers can convey a vehicle back in the day was a chariot. So to them, there was this glowing vehicle in the sky. So with today's modern technology and understanding of that, my interpretation is that there was actually UFOs being talked about in the Bible.
Yeah,
so
and heaven is actually on a UFO.
So why did God create life on other planets then?
What do you mean?
So you believe in UFOs, so you believe that there's life that was created on other planets by God, right?
Well, I don't know, other planet, other dimension, like, it's hard to explain, right? One of the ways, actually, they show us kind of this perspective is in Thor. I mean, you see the kind of, like, the different universes, like, it's all interconnected, but he's elsewhere, and he takes a Stargate to come down to Earth and stuff like that, so it's hard to understand because we're talking about, like, dimension, so it's here, but it's out there at the same time type thing, so it is beyond our understanding.
No. I was talking about people from other planets where they can live that traveled to Earth. Do you believe that happened?
Not well. I don't know. Again, I don't claim to have all knowledge, so I don't necessarily know. But I do know that there was fallen angels who came down to Earth. They were cast down, so they were out in some other dimension, planet, whatever you want to call it, out there. There was a war, a Star Wars in the heavens, and then these fallen angels had to come here and they fallen on Earth. So when we look at aliens, I actually believe it's the fallen angels. They are this humanoid race that's not like humans that were supposed to oversee us, and now they're here and they're causing havoc.
So if we made contact with aliens at some point, you would believe they were fallen angels?
I believe they're going. That's going to roll out. I'm just going to predict it. By the way, maybe not our generation, but at some point, they're going to. The fallen angels will deceive mankind into. That's why the History Channel is pumping out this ancient alien theory that we were transpermia or whatever, like we were seeded here by these ancient aliens and the Anunnaki and whatever. And I believe there's going to be a time where the fallen angels are going to appear. They're going to have advanced technology, and they're going to tell us stuff like, yeah, we're the gods, and we're here, and we're going to teach you how to evolve into being gods just like us. And I believe it's going to be a deception.
Okay, neat. Sounds like a plot to a bad sci-fi movie. Anyway,
Well, that's the thing. The sci-fi movies are actually based off the realities. It's propaganda.
Oh,
based
right.
On
like Battlefield Earth, right?
Preparing us for what's to come.
Exactly, predictive programming, preparing you for what's coming. Exactly.
So that when it does happen, when it happens, that's when we're going to be like, oh, I saw this in Independence Day, so now
it's
I know not to cross these guys.
It's easing your mind into the concept so that they're presenting it before it happens, so that when it happens, it's easier for us to take, and we don't have as much of a reaction because we've been predictively exposed to these things before they occur. And it's interesting. Notice how I'm talking about these things in this movie. It's like this movie, and everyone ever talk about these things. That's what it is, because the movies are propaganda based on the truth to brainwash the masses in predictive programming against the things that are coming. But obviously.
So, like, you don't really think anything is just like someone's imagination being expressed. It's always a malevolent agenda behind things.
Well, yes and no. So sometimes that does occur where someone just comes out, but again, in my perspective, there is a spiritual realm. So, for example, the Harry Potter books, right? They were written in the middle of the night. She woke up, she said, and all of a sudden she saw the characters in her mind and all this stuff, and she grabbed a pen and it just came out. Boom. I believe there's a spirit behind her. Now, the person there may not recognize it. They might think it's their imagination and everything, but they don't realize that they're being influenced by that spirit. We see the same phenomenon in the rock and roll world. We had Led Zeppelin, auto writing, same concept, wake up in the middle of the night and just it comes right out. When I was into my new age stuff, and I actually did what's called spirit contact, and I would allow them to, I was actually a channel. I actually did that. I put my pen on the paper and I allowed a spirit, and I didn't even know what I was writing. To tell you the truth, it was just this crazy phenomenon that was occurring. And by the time I was done, I wrote something that was beyond. And if we look at a lot of the rock bands, a lot of the movies, a lot of the things, they talk about this phenomenon having a huge part to play in their creative process. So I'm saying that although they may not recognize that, there is a malevolent spirit behind them, they can genuinely think that this is just my imagination. There are spiritual entities beyond the human who's being deceived and used to fulfill that agenda.
I think I don't like the way that undermines human imagination. I think that those are spontaneous acts of imagination. I don't believe that they're being influenced by malevolent spirits. Sure.
Right. Go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. Why and this is kind of a rhetorical question. Mario may not be able to answer it for me, but I'm going to ask anyway. Why do all the malevolent spirits of evil intent, why do they all rock so fucking hard?
Yeah, that is a good question.
One of the things that when you study in the book of, I believe, Isaiah, and it talks about Lucifer when he was in heaven, it actually says that tambourines and pipes were built into him. So this is what gives us, theologians have, speculated that Satan was a musician. So Satan knows how to create the best music because in heaven, that was his job. He was the one to orchestrate the worship of God. So he understands music insanely. So yeah, and I'll admit, I mean, I'm not like the beats and the music. I used to be into heavy metal and all that, hip hop, anything, and like I loved it. Satan does create quote unquote good music to the ears and to the senses, but we have to see the spirit behind it, and that's where I'm warning people is that good song and music, why it's so good is because it's so deceptive. It's like that candy. He's like, yeah, take a bite, it's good, you want it. Exactly. He makes it awesome for you because he's not going to come and make it bad. You wouldn't fall for it. So he's going to craft it in a way that is according to his skill, which is to make the best music that's ever been produced in the universe, because that was the assignment that God gave him.
Okay.
Wow. So Go forth from me. Go forth from me, Judas Iscariot,
Morning Star and rock the fucking house. Low.
It's the pick of destiny, y'all.
And giant spaceships in outer space. And I came from heaven and
You
decided to be born a human being on this planet.
Okay.
Now, why would I decide to be born a human being on this planet at this time? Well, because we are facing a lot of life-threatening extinction-level events in the near future. Not only did
Seems
I
like a
come to
bad
help
time to
prevent
come to the planet, really.
those extinction-level events from making us go extinct on this planet, but I also came here to bring about heaven on earth and true freedom for everyone alive. Okay.
So the question, Mario, is, will you follow Evan LaFlavor?
No.
No?
No.
Why not?
Obviously not. No.
You heard it.
You know when you're asking me that question. Like, come on. No.
You heard it, though, from him.
Yeah, I mean, and unlike you, who just claims to be serving God, he claims he is God.
Yeah, and Evan LaFlavor said you wouldn't believe him.
Yeah, and he knows there's going to be non-believers. He predicted that. So it's true. You got to admit that truth.
Okay. I came up with a plan to get rid of money by using advanced
See, he even
21st
thinks dead is
century
evil like you.
robotics technology. Okay, and that is what Evanism is all about.
Evanism.
So, yeah, that's actually why we asked you here tonight, Mario, to convert you to Evanism. I'm sorry this is an intervention. We want you to be saved. We want Evan to grace your soul. So...
one time on this show, we played a video of the Vigilant Christian having a panic attack.
Yeah.
You have panic attacks, anxiety disorder, and shit. I was wondering, don't you think that?
God's healed that, by the way. So.
Okay, well that's good. I'm glad he's healed it. But don't you think that maybe your worldview had something to do with the fact you were having panic attacks? Thinking that there's these forces out to get you everywhere.
No, I didn't think like that at all. When I was in high school, I was 16 years old, and this is when I started developing anxiety and panic disorder. I never thought like this at all. In fact, I was just like everyone else. I was the most popular guy at the school. I just, thought about girls on the weekend, getting high, getting drunk, skipping class, all that stuff, and listening to Chronic 2001, Dr. Dre. That was my life. And I ended up smoking so much dope, doing so much coke, ecstasy, speed.
Yeah.
It caused me to have this anxiety disorder. And
man, I wish we could go back and hang out with 16-year-old Vigilant Christian. Man.
We would have had a blast, but that's not me anymore. Praise God.
Wah.
I'm way
about
happier.
heaven on earth.
Anyway, I think that's enough of Evanism.
No.
All those things that you mentioned, Mario, they actually help to stave off panic attacks in me.
Well, it actually, for a long time, even when I was Christian, I battled, because I had anxiety even as a Christian. I was taking it to God, and marijuana was something that I was using for a little while to try and cure it. And I found that, when I would get high, it would take it away temporarily, but in the long run, I found that it was just getting worse and worse. So personally,
you got to stay high, though. That's the key.
And speaking of, I will be back in 45 seconds.
Okay.
So for me,
Anyway.
I gave it to God, and He healed me.
Good. I'm glad that He did that for you.
Thanks.
Anyway, can we let's check out another video.
All right. This one is called "What Does Freedom Mean When We Are Obedient to God?"
Okay.
There's a long intro. I'm gonna try to skip.
And Christian doctrine. How do
Stares at the world.
free will and Christian doctrine? How do we reconcile these two concepts? One statement you'll often hear from atheists is, why would God have given Adam and Eve free will if it allowed them to sin and create a fallen world?
Yeah, we were arguing about that earlier.
And implicit in that is also the question, how is it that you can be said to have free will if you are following the commandments of God. You know, on the surface, it seems like if you're doing what God likes, then can you really be said to have free will? And I think a good metaphor for this, to illustrate how it is that you can be free and do what you're supposed to in life, is the idea of a symphony. When you have a number of musicians in a symphony, they are all coordinated. They're all working together to create a piece of art, to create beauty. Now, every single one of those musicians is free. You know, if they want to start playing their own music, if they want to just make a bunch of noise, they can do that at any point.
It's called jazz.
But if they don't follow the conductor, if they don't follow the sheet music, all you get is a cacophony. And yet all of these people, out of their individual free will, choose to follow the music, they choose to obey the conductor. And the result is harmony and beauty.
Okay, but that's a demonstrable result. You know, no one's ever been to heaven and confirmed that, yeah, if you follow these rules, you go to heaven. That's
Is
not
that Paul, or is this someone that sounds like him?
It's not been verified to exist.
It's just some guy.
Some other guy? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was Paul.
No,
not listening to Paul, listening to some guy in a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. What? I sound like this douchebag?
Yeah.
Yep, it's you.
Sure do, Paul.
It's you, Paul.
It's you.
Are you serious?
Yep.
So Paul, you can see the video?
I'm watching it on
Oh, okay.
YouTube.
So, yeah, for some reason we're not able to share it through Skype this time. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Something's going on. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever.
And
all right.
I believe that's what it means to follow God's will.
He really does sound like you, actually.
In a way.
God doesn't want a universe of automatons any more than you want to go
Automatons.
listen to a guy program a computer to play the exact music that he wants. Seeing an actual orchestra is just so much more of a powerful experience than just listening to pre-programmed music, even though theoretically the pre-programmed music could be better quality. The reality is that when
Plenty of people listen to pre-programmed music at this point, so I don't know. Electronic music is pretty popular.
when you have three individuals, masters of their craft, playing instruments, it absolutely surpasses the best quality synthesizer because there's soul going into it.
That's an opinion.
And I believe that's what God wanted when he created a world full of individuals with free will. Not that we should have the freedom to choose to make a cacophony, although we do have that freedom, but that if we chose to follow what is good, true, and beautiful, each of us as individuals, as unique people, doing our own sort of thing, working together to create a truly beautiful, amazing, and creative reality.
Yeah, but here's the problem. There's tons of different musicians that have different ideas about what sounds good. And yeah, sometimes people can cooperate. Sure, but I'm going to take the metaphor. I'm going to take the metaphor back to the God thing. It's just like how people in life have different ways of being and different ways of viewing the world and different things that they think are ethical. And even if they are religious, they have different interpretations of the religions that they have.
But God has a standard.
Well, God supposedly has a standard according to you. And God's standard is non-existent in my mind, and God's standard is different in the mind of the next Christian over. So there is no established standard. God has not come to us and made it. Yeah, well, that is what I think. God has not come to us and made his standard clear.
Actually, I disagree. It's in his word.
Well, it might be. It's in an ancient book of fairy tales. God has not manifested himself, and no, that's what I know. God has not manifested himself.
If we would have played the full video, okay, of me debunking you, there would have been a clip where you attack the Bible, and I put you up against Ravi Zacharias, and you basically say that we can't trust the Bible, and you don't give any reasoning, and then I play Ravi, who gives intellectual reasoning why the Bible is a document that, although ancient, should be looked at a little bit.
I'll give you some reasons why the Bible shouldn't be taken seriously. First of all, it's full of contradictions. You can deny it all you want. Just go to skepticsannotatedbible.com and look at all the contradictions. It's full of cruelty. It's full of bad morality, such as child brides, approving of slavery, approving of misogyny, approving of homophobia, approving of discrimination against anyone who doesn't fit within, you know, a very particular set of standards. And that is, you know, and you know, it's
that's what you feel, yeah, sure.
Well, look, the Bible. I mean,
I've studied it and I've come to a completely different conclusion. But okay.
Okay, well, how do you react to the verses that condone slavery, like slaves obey your masters and things of that nature?
We have to think of the historical context. Like they weren't like it's like a maid, it's like a servant. It's not a slave in the context that we think it like.
No, it was. It's very clear that it is.
No, I can have an apologist on next week who can just show you this. And
well, I'm sure you could. There's plenty of apologists that can come up with sophistry to support any position, but the Bible clearly endorses slavery, and it clearly endorses child brides, and it clearly endorses. Well, okay,
it's your opinion again.
It's not my opinion. It's right there in the book. It's right there in black and white.
You keep stating your opinion as its fact. Like I hope.
No, I'm telling you what's in your book. I'm telling you what's in your book.
You are doing the very same. All we're going to be able to do, and yes, I'm stating mine like I believe it because I'm convicted to believe it, and that's what you asked me to do to come on the show. But that's what you're doing as well. You're stating your interpretation of the Bible, your own view, and that as if it's fact. No, this is.
I'm not stating an interpretation. I'm just telling you what the book says. I'm not interpreting at all.
That's
You're
what's
actually
coming out of your
interpreting.
mouth after you have read, interpreted your own interpretation.
No, there's no interpretation involved. I'm just taking it at face value. I'm taking the Bible at absolute face value.
You're not
I'm
the
not
authority
adding
on
interpretation.
Truth. Just because you study
I'm not the authority on
something and
truth.
say it to
That's
be
true.
Don't make it. And I hope your subscribers are not down enough to fall for that.
That's true of anybody in the entire world.
Everyone has to study their own. We all have our own worldviews.
Sure,
Everyone,
I 100%
100%
agree with you.
Come and then, like you are doing right now, and stating mine's the truth. Okay. Sometimes I'll do that just by the way I present it. But at the end of the day, this is my belief. You have to test things out for yourself. I say this on my channel all the time.
Sure, that's fine.
But you,
I agree with you on that.
You always tell people that they need to wake up, though. Like,
because that's what I'm convicted to. That's what I feel, and that's my channel, and that's my right to feel that.
But you present it as the truth as well. So,
and that's all humans can do. I don't.
But you're interpreting. I'm not interpreting the Bible.
Who's going to tell us the truth? Who has? Is it you, TJ? The whole world?
Well, according to you,
everything.
Well, hold on.
You're
according to you, it's the Bible.
And Bible scholar.
According to you, the Bible is what's going to tell us the truth, and I'm just telling you that there are many verses in the Bible that support things like slavery, and there's no way you can possibly deny it.
According to you, but you just said you could get an apologist to come here, and he could present a way.
Yeah, so, I could get someone to come here and tell me dragons are real. I could get someone to come here and tell me a million fucking untrue propositions. That doesn't make them true.
But again, we're just presenting worldviews, and you're not the authority.
No, I'm not presenting a worldview. I'm telling you what's in your fucking book.
What you think is in my book.
I'm telling you what is in your book, and anyone can go look it up.
Okay.
That one person on their own, one consciousness on their own, simply cannot do. You know, God doesn't want a world of automatons. He doesn't want a Soviet state where we're interchangeable cogs, but one where we realize our true individuality, our true freedom, and become the best versions of ourselves. So that is how I would describe free will and how it does fit with the Creator who has a plan for all of us.
Okay, well, we already responded to that.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a few more videos to go through, and then we'll call it a night. Let's see. Let's do this one.
Many small children will end up in hell because their parents never taught them about Jesus Christ, sin, hell and damnation, because people are scared to scare their children. Yet those same people teach their little ones about a sex education and about the baby in mommy's tummy, but they don't warn them against sin. My 3-year-old granddaughter understands about the fires of hell and the consequences of sin, of lying to mommy, and of bullying her little brother. She knows that if you sin, you will die, you will perish in hell, because I told her, because her parents are teaching her, and she understands. She tells other children about it, and it turns her away from doing wrong.
Yeah, until she fucking turns 18 and becomes a stripper.
She
I'm
has
just going to
been
point
taught.
out that no children go to hell. I don't know where this guy's getting at there. There's an age of maturity for judgment.
Oh, okay.
And what is it?
What is the age of maturity for judgment?
Well, there's not a specific age. God knows the heart, and he knows when the person is considered to be at
You know,
the age of
people.
I don't think TJ's reached it.
People used to live to be like 900, so let's hope the age of maturity is like 200, you know? That way we all go to heaven together.
I wouldn't count on it, but okay.
Oh, you just don't want me there with you, do you, Vigilant?
Oh, no, you don't even... Bro, I want you there. I want you as my brother. Trust me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm very flattered, but I have to decline.
You teaching your children about Jesus Christ.
Mario, do you want Jim Morrison to be there too?
I want everyone. I don't care who you are. I don't. And there's
Even
no one
Hitler?
Yeah.
You think Hitler's there?
If you have to change. You have to be born again and turn from the wicked. But anyone that dies, I don't care how bad you are. I mean, I was pretty bad, man. So like, I'm not gonna sit here and judge people and
How many people have you killed? You've killed a lot, huh?
Yeah. No, no, I wasn't that bad. But
oh, okay. Well, then you weren't pretty bad.
See, we could right there. We could be like Vigilant Christian confession, like that. Yep.
Vigilant Christian confesses to being a bad person.
Have you ever heard of the Armored Skeptic, Vigilant Christian?
I think so, actually.
People think you guys sound alike.
Yeah, some people thought that that it was like a secret identity.
You're both Canadian, so I guess that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had him on our last show, and he does. You guys do have similar voices for sure.
Yeah, I think I've run into his videos. Does he have like a thumbnail with like a mask on?
Yeah,
it's,
armor. Like
it's like a suit of armor.
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, hold on. No, this is what I want to
Let's move on to the gay marriage thing. I'm a libertarian, but if you're a real listener and not somebody with a script, you would know not hundreds but thousands of times, and if you listen to my show the first 18 years, I didn't even cover this, I don't get into what you do in your bedroom. Okay? I am not in people's bedrooms. I am not a Pharisee. I'm not a hypocrite. My world does not revolve around sex either, and so I'm sick of it. It's a football issue. It's not a federal issue. It's a distraction to be passed back and forth. Now, the truth is there is a move at the UN. There is a move to sexualize children. Sumner Redstone has said that, and it's nobody's business to be trying to target children with Heather has two mommies, or you can't say boy or girl because somebody may not identify as that. That is space cult, suicide cult, exterminism, craziness.
Suicide pills, mass murder pills.
Do you disagree with any of that, Mario?
Not necessarily, no. I do think there's an agenda to destroy the family, and one of the things to do is to confuse sexuality. They're adding all sorts of stuff in our food. BPA was a big estrogen mimicker, which caused heightened estrogen levels. Even, in grade 8, the girls that were, in grade 8 when I was there, my dad would come and be like, that's not developed like they were back in the day, because hormonally, we've been under attack. So they've been trying to make us born that way, because we're literally born with hormonal defects because of the food and everything that they're doing. And it's an agenda to destroy the family. To bring in a new world order, they need to make the current America fall. And how they're going to be able to do that is by confusing the family, because it's structured right now, man, woman, and they know that that's the fabric of it. So to bring in a new order, they even have to have some type of social revolution in the mind. And this is why the Caitlyn Jenner thing happened. I know there's transgenders out there who deal with it. I am not convinced at all that he even he's doing it because it's a stunt. He's going to make $500 million now because of it. And he's a Kardashian, okay? They will do anything for fame and fortune at the end of the day.
He's not a Kardashian.
He's part of it.
Is.
He's married into
Sort
the family.
of.
He was on the show. He was the father of it for the TV series. So I don't buy for a second that he's actually legit. Even on the TV show I Am Kate, I was just showing how they had auditions for his friends, his transgender friends. So he has transgender friends that are on the show that are fake. He's a fake transgender. It's all a publicity stunt to push a certain agenda. He's set to make tons of money off of it. And there are people out there who struggle with those things, and I do try and specify. I mean, my heart goes out to you. I mean, that's not an easy thing to be confused about, and I could only imagine what dealing like that is, but I don't think that this guy is legit in what he's doing. And I think it's part of a bigger plan to bring in a new system.
All right.
I think children used to be...
No.
What's happening? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we have G-Man, who probably agrees with everything the Vigilant Christian is saying.
Probably.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I like to say this. Vigilant Christian, I've been a fan for a while, even before I got on YouTube. Love your
awesome,
channel.
man. Yeah.
There's like a quadrillion questions I would like to ask you, but this is
Awesome.
not the venue to do it. But I am.
I'll go on your show, man. We'll do an interview together.
See, we're bringing people together here on the Drunken.
Yeah, G-Man's psyched
You know
now.
what? I'm going to give God an extra dose of praise tonight. Mario, thank you. I appreciate it.
Don't praise God. Praise us. We brought you together. Yeah.
I would like to publicly say the Amazing Atheist is awesome.
Okay.
He let me meet the Vigilant. He let me meet the Vigilant.
It was actually me. I did it all.
Okay.
I'm the one.
Vince Scott, Paul's ego, and all the people of the Drunken Peasants are awesome because I got to meet the Vigilant Christian Mario.
So what is your top question for the Vigilant Christian, Mario?
Yeah, this is it. This is your one chance to ask the Christian.
Yeah. We've got about 15 minutes of show left, so I thought I'd bring G-Man on. We can have him ask the Vigilant Christian some questions, and I'm sure we'll have a problem with something he says eventually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you know so much about what's going on with the New World Order and the Illuminati?
Yeah, because when I actually, it's actually how I was led to God. So I studied these things out. I got into researching this stuff when the internet. I remember being on Google and I was going through this, what is going on in the world? And I just started researching and I just started coming across all this information. And I was all into the truth movement, Alex Jones and Anonymous, Zeitgeist I got into back in the day and all these things. And it was this research. And then after a while, that's actually how I came to God. I started to recognize that everything that they're pointing out about the world was actually pointing to biblical prophecy.
Okay,
so then,
hold on. So you came to God through the conspiracy theory stuff.
Yeah, kind of, in a way. It was head knowledge wise, I was philosophically seeking it. I was seeking truth. Then because I was 16 and I went through this phase of anti-flag, bad religion, the government's everything is just, so I knew something
I happen
was
to
up.
like anti-flag and bad religion, so that's cool. But,
I don't like bad religion anymore, but anti-flag I used to really love. Rise Against, any band that would sing about revolution against the man or the powers to be. I was loving that. So
I just find it interesting, that you came to the religion through the conspiracy theory stuff, because to me that seems to be the focus of your major videos that you do.
Right, because you're only focusing on my main channel.
Well, that's why it's your main channel.
I say the main channel because it's the biggest one, but I have 5. And it's not everything I do.
All right. G-Man, did you have more questions?
Yes, and this one's going to bore the Drunken Peasants to death. How long you been saved, Mario?
Since 2010 in January.
Oh, okay, so
that would be 5 years.
Okay, cool. Oh God. Oh Lord. The Simpsons. Okay, you showed in one of your videos that there was Illuminati symbolism in The Simpsons, and what was that? Right. The crossover between The Simpsons and Family Guy. How true is that?
All right. So when we're looking at, cartoonist, where I got that from was researching Disney. Now, Disney was hired to do propaganda, so he was a propagandist for the government. Now, obviously, they don't tell you that modern day Disney is actual propaganda, but it is. It's a Tomorrowland.
Except the Black Cauldron, though.
Okay, Tomorrowland is the New World Order. Okay, if you look at it, if you watch the movie, it's the elite, the secret group of people who have all the knowledge, and they're overseeing, and you even see them looking at the world in monitors, and they're assisting mankind into the Tomorrowland. So it's literally the Luciferian New World Order that's being preached in the Tomorrowland movie, because Disney still operates through the function of propaganda in the world. So what these satanic cabal that runs the major institutions of the world are doing is using cartoonists as propagandists. So Matt Groening joins the secret society, becomes a Freemason, lets us know publicly, because they have to do this, through an episode in which Homer Simpson goes through initiation. He's humiliated. There's the Masonic square and compass. He takes the oath, everything. And then they even sing that song, who controls the British crown? We do. And they're literally telling you, we do, right in front of your face. Yeah, I played the song,
but
listen to it.
Weren't they making? They were making fun of that.
Right, that's what you think. So
no, that's what I know, because it's a satirical show.
Right, you know everything.
Well,
So
I
anyways,
know that The Simpsons is not brainwashing people with a fucking satirical look at secret societies.
You know without a shadow of a doubt that Matt Groening is not part of a secret society.
It's pronounced graining, and yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm reasonably sure.
Yeah, you must know. Yeah, you live with them? You don't.
No, I don't live with him, but I'm just pretty sure I know.
All right.
Yeah, we got a green light again over there.
All right. Sorry about that, guys.
Are we back? We're back. Okay.
Yeah. We dropped, but we're back again.
Except for Paul. Wait, no, there's Paul. Oh wait, it's calling him again. I don't know what's going on with Paul.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
I think Mario's here. Mario, you here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we're there.
Mario, add me to Skype, man. My Skype information is more Gary1.
All right, man.
Cool. And I would love to have a private discussion with you. I got a quadrillion questions for you.
Cool.
Regarding this whole Illuminati stuff and everything.
Awesome. Sure you do.
Mario, are there starving Christians in the world?
I saw you take G-Man. G-Man, answer him.
Okay.
They always try and get him with this.
Okay, Amazing Atheists and Drunken Peasants for the last time, okay? I was talking to Dusty and I was trolling him, okay? What I believe about starving children, Christian children is this, okay? My Bible teaches me that God withholds no good thing from his people. The argument, and then what did you guys do? You guys said to me, well, why did God answer your prayer to give you money and why some other children starve? And I said to you, well, prove to me, and this is the whole quote, prove to me that God gave me money and then ignored the starving child or the starving Christian child. Show me right now where God did that. You can't do it because you don't even believe that he exists.
But we're saying that there are starving children who are Christians.
Okay, and your evidence is?
The fact that there are.
Where's your evidence? Demonstrable and empirical evidence.
Okay, well, there's. Here's the demonstrable and empirical evidence. Tons of children across the world are starving, and many of them are Christians. They're all. I'm sure that a lot of them are Christians.
When we're talking about starving, let's make sure we get our definitions straight here, okay?
Okay, starving.
A starving person is a person who, with their body, is feeding off the muscles and whatnot.
Yeah, well,
okay?
a starving person is someone who has no food.
Okay, Christians fast and they withhold food on purpose. You're talking about that. I agree with you. The only way you have starving.
What I'm talking about. So wait, so are you saying that there's no Christian families that are stricken by poverty and strife?
No, I'm telling you, by the definition of starvation, that there's only two possible ways that there's a starving child out there, and God is not intervening. Number one, it's their time to die. That's number one. Or number two, they are fasting. Those are the only two examples you're going to get from me where you have a starving.
So there can be a starving Christian child if it's their time to die.
If it's their time to die, or if
they're fasting.
Something, yes.
Okay.
But you guys made it sound like I said that there was no such thing as them at all. And I already
Well,
clarified.
that is what you said, actually, but
And then
you did clarify afterwards that it was no starving Christian children. But I mean, I don't see how you could possibly think there's no starving Christian children. I mean, it's obvious that there are.
Whoa. First, you got to prove they're Christian.
Okay, but I have to prove they're Christian by your crazy metric, where pretty much no one is a Christian.
Dusty Smith defined a Christian. You're gonna love this, Mario. Dusty Smith, Dusty, one of the most popular atheists here on YouTube, defined Christianity as a cult. That's the definition of Christianity. But you're telling me that you know for certain that there are starving Christian children out there, and you can't even define what a Christian is. Are you serious? Thank you.
I would say that Christianity is not a cult based on its size alone, but I would say that structurally it's a cult. I mean, if there were only 20 Christians in the world, it would be considered a cult. There's nothing doctrinally that stops it from being a cult.
The Masons are a cult. I believe the Mormons would be considered a cult, if I'm not mistaken, but you can debate that or whatever.
What about Jehovah's Witnesses?
Again, though,
I would call them a false religion.
Cult is just according to who calls it a cult. It's just I mean, who gets the final? God will decide what's the real cult and what's not good, and He's decided that in His Word. But again, we're dealing with just people labeling things here.
Sure.
Exactly. So amazing.
Like at the end of the day, like you could think something's a cult. I can think something's a cult. Someone who's in Scientology doesn't see it as a cult, and I think it's the weirdest satanic Luciferian cult in Hollywood.
Yeah,
just
like someone who believes in the Illuminati cannot see.
I mean, we've seen churches of Scientology all over the world. Remember?
Yep.
Yeah, like we were walking around in Amsterdam. We saw a big church of Scientology there. We definitely know that they're everywhere.
Yeah, and they wanted to give us a free personality test, of course.
But a serious question to the peasants and Paulsego and whoever wants to answer this on the atheist side: if you can't define what a Christian is, how can you say that you know for certain that there are starving Christians? If you can't.
I will tell you my definition of a Christian. All right.
I'll tell you mine too. If it differs,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
If it differs from TJ's, I'll tell you mine too.
My definition of a Christian is someone who believes that Christ lived and existed, believes in His teachings, and believes in His divinity, and believes that only through Him can they be saved. That is my definition. Paul, is your definition different?
No.
Okay, that's my definition.
I have to give you more credit than I did Dusty Smith, because at least your definition is not as lacking as his was. I would define a Christian this way: someone who is born again, not of the will of the flesh, but according to the will of the Spirit. Someone who believes in the life, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Someone who is following the teachings of Christ. That is a Christian. That is a follower of Christ. However, to say that we're in a cult and we're doing cultish things. No,
that's a cult. I mean,
we're not even a religion.
If there was only 20 of you and you believed in all this stuff about Jesus, it would be considered a cult by everyone.
Yeah, but unfortunately.
But again, yeah, it's just people.
But that's of course not the case, because there are millions of there's billions of Christians, probably only millions that you would consider true Christians, since both of you are pretty exhaustive with your purity tests, but. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, but Mario's pretty informed about these kind of things. You guys should check out his channel one day and watch it.
We've checked out his channel plenty of times.
Yeah. Have you watched a Vigilant Christian talk about the gospel?
No, I've never watched his Bible study videos. I wasn't even aware they existed until he came on the show today.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so Amazing Atheist, when are we going to have this debate on evolution?
We can have it.
Yeah,
I agreed to the debate, and then you decided to retire from YouTube for a few months. You even said...
I took a break, man. They were driving me crazy.
Okay, but you even said in your video that I didn't have to debate you anymore. But I guess I'll do it. I'll do it with you,
No,
G-Man.
I didn't say that. I said
Yeah, you did, but that's fine. I'll do it still. Because
so you're going to come to my channel and you're going to
Sure, I'll come to your channel. You need to contact me on Facebook or on Twitter or something, and we'll get the details hashed out on that.
I can give you my phone number and you can call me and we can talk on the phone, unless you're like so busy that you can't talk.
Yeah, I don't like talking on the phone. But
he doesn't even like talking to me on the phone.
No.
So,
but I'll talk to you somewhere, and I'll get your information from Ben, I guess, and I'll make contact.
Do you guys live in the East Coast?
Yes, we live on the East Coast.
I wouldn't mind meeting you guys, especially the one that wears a wrestling outfit, because I have a lot of stuff I want to talk to him about.
Come to Columbus, Ohio.
I would love to have this debate face to face.
Sure, come on down, Columbus. We'll meet you somewhere.
Yeah, I'll come down there, we can meet, and then I can help you believe that God created everything and not, us being some cosmic accident.
Okay. Sounds good, buddy. We'll do that.
Well, I just learned something here. Vigilant Christian is subscribed to my channel. Like, I mean, I'm like starstruck right now. You guys have like no idea.
Man, I'm telling you. Can you feel the love in the air?
Yeah.
Can you feel the love tonight?
But you want to know what, Mario? I'm not worshiping you or nothing like that. I think you understand where I'm coming from.
No, yeah, for sure, bro.
You know what I mean?
I'm
You work
excited
very
to meet
hard.
you, man. Yeah,
He's
you do
G-Man.
too, man. Who
G-Man
cares how
is
big the
becoming part of
channels
the
are?
Godly Bros.
You're out there doing the same thing I'm doing, so I have all the respect for you, man.
you know, G-Man runs marathons, Mario.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I have 2 medals. The full marathon is 26.2 miles. I'm gonna be
I was
doing
actually
it
going to
again.
get into some Ironman stuff there, where like you do the triathlon and stuff.
Okay, now triathlon. I never did that before. I might.
Yeah, I
try
want
it.
to try that. Yeah, that's what I want to do over the next 3 years.
Yeah,
It's a
I'll
lot of
try a
training.
triathlon if they introduce a
Lot of training,
candy
man.
bar
You got-
called
Yeah.
triathlon, maybe.
A lot of training. So, Amazing Atheist, if you don't mind, if you come on my channel and you have this debate with me about evolution, right? Do you mind talking to a couple of the atheists that watch my channel? Because a lot of them have some criticisms about you, and I'm about to say something publicly right now that you might be a little surprised, but I have a little more respect for you than I did when I first met you. Obviously, I called you the amazing racist when I first met you. But I think since then you proved that that's not true, all right? I think you deserve that. But I would like for you to talk to some of the atheists on there that's giving you a lot of flack, because you know how to
Sure. Why not? I'll walk into the lion's den. I'm all right. I'll do it.
All right, cool. And Vigilant Christian, I would love to have you on my channel.
Yeah, man, we'll set it up.
All right, we're going to wrap this show up, you guys.
Awesome.
Thanks, G-Man, for coming. Thanks, Vigilant Christian, for coming. Thanks, Paul, for coming. Fuck you, Scotty, for not being here.
Mario, you proved everybody
Before
wrong.
Before you go up there, Vigilant Christian, who won the rap battle between myself and Creationist Cat?
I don't know. Creationist Cat's hard to beat.
Yeah.
I think I beat him pretty bad.
Yeah, no, you didn't. But anyway, we're off the air, everyone. Thanks for being on, especially Vigilant Christian coming into the hostile
So many
territory
people
or whatever.
thought that you wouldn't come, and you stayed the whole time.
Man, have me on. I don't want to just make this once. I'll come back.
All right. We'll have you
I'm
back
doing
some
Oh, yeah,
point.
go check out my channel. I'm doing a whole series. I'm going to take all TJ's stuff. And
Yeah, he's
debunk.
gonna do
I'll
it.
come back and we'll go face to face as we watch our debunks together. I think that'll be the best way. So, and if you
There
have
you
anything
go.
stupid to say, I'll be right there.
All
right. Sounds good, everybody.
All right, so I just ended the call. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, give the show a thumbs up.
And we didn't really shill our shit too much, so we still have shirts available. There's still tons of those. You could still become a patron at patreon.com/DP. We have a new perk for the $1 level. I think we have a new perk for the $50 level as well. And we also added a $1,000 perk if anyone out there is rich and wants to get an associate producer credit and some extremely limited edition Drunken Peasants merchandise.
Right.
Signed by all the peasants.
Also, we have a fantasy football league going on. You could win money from it. Join it.
Yeah, we got this fantasy football thing. You can play against the peasants and against other Drunken Peasants fans, and you can win money.
You
in the
can win
process.
money, and if you choose to play using our code DP, you get more money.
Yeah, they'll match all of the money you put in up to $200. So it's basically like getting $200 free to play around with if you want to do that.
Yeah, and I mean it's really easy to set up. You just choose your players and everything.
Yeah, and you're not stuck with them the whole season either. So if you got shitty players the first week, you can always like make adjustments.
Yeah, it looks like right now, how many do 11? We can get up to 100, and then the prizes are the best, and the prizes are tiered, so they keep going. We'll just show you really quick for those that are still around to see. So this is how it works. But I think we have to get a full 100 for the winners to win this much.
Yeah, so if you're not part of this Drunken Peasants FanDuel League...
even if you don't like football.
Yeah, I mean, like, even if you're just going to base it on statistics and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, you could win money easily.
It's $5. So if you place in any of these, you've won more.
Yeah, if you place with between 1st and 20th place, you win more than you put in. So it seems like it's pretty cool. It seems like it's pretty easy to actually win money on.
And for those of you that think you're good at fantasy sports, you know, there's
test us, motherfucker.
Well, also there's a lot of games where people are winning hundreds of thousands of dollars and shit.
Right. You don't have to just be part of our league. There's plenty of other stuff going on too, and you can win some serious money if you want to take some more high risk bets. So check it out.
Yep. All right.
All right. Show's over. Thanks.
All
for
right.
watching,
Good night.
everybody. Rock on to the music of the devil.